of baseball.
At Coors Field in Denver, the New York Mets play the Colorado Rockies. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Good Humor, the official ice cream of the New York Mets. By Empire City Casino, real people, real money, real deal. You could be the next big winner. By Investors Bank, banking in your best interest. And by Lexus, experience amazing. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Denver. Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez with you tonight as the Mets play the middle game of their series against the Rockies. Rockies won in walk-off fashion last night. We came on the air last night talking about the debut of Rosario, and he had a busy night. Got his first big league hit, got a bunch of chances in the field, and was involved in a pivotal moment in the ninth inning.
Well, he on a 3-2 count with Blackman running. He got caught in between in his footing. I don't think he broke too early. You see right there, you want to be firmly planted on both feet so you can go left or right on when the ball struck. He got caught in between. The backhand hit his glove. It was ruled a very generous hit. And there you see the veteran step in right now. Neil Walker, the second baseman, and then you'll see Jay Bruce giving advice and consoling his first game. He probably feels bad about that muff right there, but he did get his first hit, and there's this game tonight to make a redeemer.
Yeah, difficult to play to greet him in his first big league game. Nolan Arenado followed with a game-winning hit, and the Rockies got the victory. Jay Bruce hit his 28th home run along the way, and Bruce, who's never hit more than 34 in a season, having himself an enormous year.
Well, third straight year for Jay Bruce, consecutively have 25 or more home runs. He's done it 7 times in his career. He's been so steady with this ball club. He's in the top 10 in RBIs and home runs. In the 98 games that he has played in this year, he's gotten on base 86 times. That's consistency.
So the Mets try and get even in the series with the Rockies, and they'll be sending rookie Chris Flex into the mound for his second major league start. It's the Mets and the Rockies from Colorado. All the action coming your way tonight right here on SNY. Is brought to you by StubHub, the official fan-to-fan ticket marketplace of the New York Mets. Download the StubHub app today. by New York 811. Be sure you call 811 before you start any digging project, big or small. Make the 811 call. And by Optimum, for the best offers on TV, internet, and phone, visit Optimum.com. Be at Citi Field this Saturday when the Mets take on the Dodgers at 4:05 p.m. The first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Uenis Cespedes number 52 chain, courtesy of Good Humor. For tickets, visit Mets.com/tickets. Unlimited Baseball Break brought to you by T-Mobile. The month just passed, July of 2017, the highest strikeout month in Major League history, which broke the record set in the previous month, which broke the record set in the previous month, which broke the record. You get it. The top 5 strikeout months in Major League history have been the last 5 months, and it's only getting worse, and that can't be a good thing for the game. Chris Flexen makes his second big league start for the Mets tonight.
Well, he started that first game in San Diego, had to be a little bit nervous, got greeted with a leadoff home run. Didn't go well for him. But looking at his 3 innings of work, what really was the bugaboo for him was not the home run. It was the 4 walks that got him in trouble. He needs to throw strikes.
Last time we saw Tyler Chatwood, he was limping off the mound in the first inning at Citi Field with a calf injury.
Well, this is a make or break start for Chatwood here. We won 12 games last year. He's a free agent after this year, and he's got a lot of competition here. A lot of good starting pitchers overloaded on this roster of the Rocky roster. So this is a big start. 62 walks, leads the National League.
Another beautiful night in Denver. Mets will try and get even in this series and snap a 3-game losing streak. The Mets and the Rockies, all the action coming your way. First pitch is coming right up. There are a lot of mountains here. You got your low-lying mountains. You've got your big, tall mountains. You got your mountain streams running through between the mountains.
Purple Mountain's majesty.
And right now we've got mountain music playing to go with the mountains.
Little banjo. Sounds more like Kentucky to me.
She'll be coming around the mountain when she comes. Yeah, I think you're right. I think we're a little far west for that.
See the shadows still on the field as we approach game time. There's your Geico Mets starting lineup tonight. Second big league game for Ahmed Rosario. Let's go with fairly the same lineup, except that Wilmer Flores sits and Curtis Granderson plays and Jay Bruce moves to first base, as the Mets try and find a way to get playing time for all of their outfielders. They've got log jams on the infield and the outfield right now, and that's the grouping today. Tomorrow, Jose Reyes is scheduled to get a start at second base for the first time in 13 years, so that'll be interesting to watch. Meanwhile, Tyler Chatwood, as Keith mentioned, may be pitching for his spot in the Rockies rotation.
He certainly is, Gary, and there's his Toyota numbers, and you can see right there sticking out like a big sore thumb is that 62 walks, which leads the National League. It's always been a problem for him, career-wise average. And the Coors Light Rockies defense full of gold. Both corner outfielders have won Gold Gloves. Blackman made a heck of a catch last night up against the wall. On the infield, you got two more Gold Glovers in Arenado and LeMahieu. And LaCroix has yet to make his debut here in a Colorado Rocky uniform. Flu-ridden.
Stomach illness that kept him out last night. They say, Bud Black does, that LaCroix should be available today if needed. The other thing that Bud Black said before the game, remember last night they got Greg Holland up briefly but then sat him down and he was not up in the 9th and 10th innings. Well, Bud said today that Holland suffered a cut on a finger on his pitching hand in a kitchen accident and is now day-to-day. That's his all-star closer.
When men get in the kitchen, it's nothing but trouble, I'm telling you. You get hurt in there.
And you can get hurt if you keep talking, so why don't you stop?
I stay away from the knives.
Now that's a smart thing to do.
That's what I meant.
Tyler Chatwood, like the starter last night, Jeff Hoffman, has struggled here at Coors Field. 6.14 ERA at home, 3.84 on the road. But he pitched well in both venues last year, and the Rockies are hoping he can kick it in gear now, coming back from that calf injury. Michael Conforto on base 4 times last night. It was the 8th time this year that Michael had reached base at least 4 times. Nobody else on the club has done it more than 4 times. And it's the reason why Conforto continues in that leadoff spot. He now has a .401 on base percentage, 7th in the National League. Chatwood's first pitch is in for a strike, and we're underway. Conforto, Cabrera, and Cespedes in the opening inning.
I still say a number 3 hitter, and if those kind of numbers he's having in the leadoff, if he's a number 3 hitter, he's getting on base for the 4, 5, and 6.
Chatwood with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. Chatwood's not a big guy. He's only 6 feet tall. A guy who throws hard. He was compared early in his career to Roy Oswalt, a small pitcher with a cannon of an arm. First signed with the Angels. And he strikes out Conforto on 3 pitches, pulling the string for strike 3.
Drops a curve on Conforto, who chases in the dirt. But Conforto, what he has shown is he takes his measure in that first at bat of a pitcher, and as the game progresses, if that pitcher is in there still, which that's always a flip of a coin, you get 3 at bats off of a starter, he makes the adjustment.
Here's Asdrubal Cabrera, who hit that ball to the center field fence in the 9th inning yesterday that Charlie Blackman made that great play on. And the first pitch chopped over the mound. Tough play for Story. He uses the glove and throws him out. Nice play by Story for the second out.
Well, there's a case of knowing your runner, and the hitter here, Cabrera, not running well. He knew he can go by the glove, not the bare hand. Nice play, routine. And 2 hands, young men out there in your Little League uniforms.
It is a little shocking to see how that ball was hit and by how much Cabrera was thrown out at first base. 2 out and nobody on, and now Cespedes, 2 for 4 last night in a ballpark where he loves to swing the bat, but then again, doesn't everybody?
Well, he's having himself a good road trip here. 355, 3 doubles, 2 triples, and a home run.
Still not hitting for nearly the power that the Mets banked on this year. Just 10 home runs in 218 at bats this season. He has a home run in his career against Chatwood. Chatwood pitched against the Mets a couple of weeks ago at Citi Field and got knocked out in the first inning. Jay Bruce took him deep Chad would face just a handful of batters and then walked off the mound after just a third of an inning with a calf injury. Went on the disabled list, came back, made one relief outing, and now his first start since returning. 2-1 to Cespedes.
He has always been a ground ball pitcher. A little over 50% of his outs are on the ground.
And Cespedes hits a rocket. Nice backhand play. LeMahieu up on his feet. To throw him out. This Rockies defense is superb, and LeMahieu playing on the left side in the shift against Cespedes makes a nice play to get Chatwood through a 1-2-3 opening inning. Last night's lineup for the Rockies, but Black running out the same starting 8 tonight after a 5-4 win last night. Rockies pulled off their third walk-off victory of the season, and tonight they face rookie right-hander Chris Flexen, making his second big league start.
Well, Chris Flexen right there, the Land Rover numbers, not very many, only one start. It's very unusual for a young man to come up from Double-A to the big leagues. That's an awful big jump.
Charlie Blackmon leads off. He was on base 4 times last night and scored the game-winning run in the 9th. Blackmon also made that great catch in center field. Most nights that would have been the best catch in the major leagues. Last night it didn't come close.
No, you're right. What a catch in Boston.
Austin Jackson made at Fenway Park to rob Hanley Ramirez of a home run. That's lifted out to left. Cespedes comes charging in, and that's the first out. I mean, head over heels into the bullpen and hung on to the ball.
And you know, I played this game for a long time. I think I know most of it. I always thought that if you made a catch and fell into the stands like he did, it's a home run. But
as long as the ball doesn't hit the ground on the other side.
Okay, then I just said you learn something new every day.
Remember Brad Cominsk a number of years ago made a catch going over the wall, but he dropped the ball on the other side, so it went for a home run. But you don't see it in too many ballparks these days because it's not really possible to go over the fence to make a catch. But of course, Fenway has some short walls in certain parts of the ballpark, and the front of the bullpen is one of them. Here's DJ LeMahieu, 2 for 5 last night, 8th in the National League with a .316 batting average after winning the batting title last year. And Flexen misses high, 1-1.
6'4", big tall kid, and just not a power hitter, more of your number 2 hitter. Hits the ball the other way.
And it's because he hits the ball the other way. That's why it was Rosario's responsibility to cover the bag at second on that play in the 9th inning last night. And he takes one the other way, and he's got the Rockies' first hit. It'll beat Granderson and go to the wall. Now it bounces away from Curtis. And LeMahieu easily into second base with a 1-out double.
Oh, Mr. LeMahieu, make Gary and I look like geniuses up here. There he is going the opposite field. Just as we told you, this is what he does best. And look how he stays level. And of all the players in the lineup here, of the Rockies lineup, he is the only one that's hitting 300 at home as well as on the road. He's a line drive hitter, an average hitter, obviously a batting champion. So that's something you look at when you look at Rocky hitters.
21st double of the year for LeMahieu. And now Nolan Arenado, who today was named National League Player of the Month for July, and then got August off to a fairly rollicking start last night with a 3-run homer and a game-winning hit. And he takes the slider off the plate from Flexen, ball 1.
Well, the game-winning base hit was a blooper to center field on an 0-2 count, and a hanging slider up in the strike zone. It was really out of the strike zone. It was up in his eyes, and not the pitch you want to make. But Robles was a victim of the mishap with Rosario at shortstop prior.
And let's face it, you know, Arenado is just one of those guys who has a knack. He's hitting .452 with runners in scoring position, and that's why he has a double-digit lead in the National League in runs batted in. 95 RBIs with more than a third of the season left to play. Set to put up a rather enormous number this year. And he swings over the slider from Flexen, 1-2.
Well, Arenado with those 2 at-bats last night, the 3-run home run that gave them, they were down 2-0, that put them ahead and in the game winner. 30 of his last 52 with runners in scoring position, folks. That's almost 600 with that 48 RBIs in the streak. That is phenomenal.
It's Hernandez-esque.
No, it's not. That's Babe Ruthian.
1-2 coming. And he hits a slow tapper to third. Cabrera checks the runner and throws out Arenado for the second out. So a big out for Flexen, 2 out in the inning.
And your Lexus Metzi defense, Granderson with a start in right field tonight. On the infield, there's Mr. Rosario in his second major league ball game. Jay Bruce to first base. And Darno's getting pretty much all the catching chores now, Garrett.
So now Mark Reynolds, who had 2 hits last night. Reynolds, who turns 34 tomorrow, having a nice season for the Rockies in his second year in Colorado. Got off to a phenomenal start this year, which was really helpful for Colorado because they signed Ian Desmond to play first base. And Desmond got hurt in spring training, broke his wrist, and Reynolds filled in for him the first 2 months of the season and got off to a fantastic start, which really helped the Rockies get off to a good start themselves. Desmond is on the disabled list now for the 3rd time with a recurrence of a calf injury that he suffered after he came back from the wrist injury. So it's been kind of a lost year for Desmond. And Reynolds fouls one away, and Flexen's ahead 0-2. Chris Flexen, just 23 years old, 14th round pick for the Mets in 2012. Really was not on the radar as far as getting called up this year, but with all the injuries the Mets have suffered, he was the next guy, having pitched so well both in Single-A and Double-A this year. Only 10 minor league starts before his call-up, but he was, look at those numbers, what he did with Binghamton in the 7 starts there after his first 3 starts in St. Lucie. And that's why he got the bump up from Double-A. And a check swing. Reynolds went around, strike 3, and Flexen has a strikeout to end the first inning. So a much better first for Flexen. No score after 1 at Coors Field. Second inning with no score. Jay Bruce will lead off for New York against Tyler Chatwood. Bruce a double and a home run last night. Drove in a pair. 28 home runs, 74 driven in. And Chatwood misses down for ball one. Bruce is third in the National League in home runs and seventh in the league in RBIs. Rolled down to first, an easy play for Reynolds for the first out. Only Giancarlo Stanton and Cody Bellinger have hit more home runs than Bruce, and Bellinger just hit his 30th tonight. 30 home runs for a rookie.
That's unbelievable.
And we're only in the 2nd of August.
Well, he takes a full cut, does he not? I mean, what a rip.
Chatwood's retired the first 4. Now Neil Walker still trying to get on track after coming back from the disabled list. 0 for 4 last night. And now 2 for 15 in the 4 games since he returned from the hamstring injury.
I ran into Neil in the lobby of the hotel today and asked him how his hamstring was feeling and his back. He said, he feels fine. I also ran into Brandon Nimmo's father. Had a little chat with Mr. Nimmo in the lobby today. It was a very fine, nice conversation with his father.
Yeah, these are like home games for the Nimmo family. His home in Wyoming, just an hour and a half away. Taken outside from Walker, although Brandon said it's an hour and a half because you can drive 80
right
here on the interstates.
Well, it's the Great Plains.
Wide open spaces.
It's the western fringe edge of the Great Plains.
And Walker takes a strike, 3-1.
Can you imagine coming across the Great Plains and you can see the Rocky Mountains, just your first glimpse, and boy, wouldn't that just like whet your appetite? I got to get there.
Well, especially if you're like in a stagecoach.
Hopefully there's not a herd of buffalo in your way.
Walker hits the ground ball right at Story, playing near the bag, and he throws him out. So 5 up and 5 down for Chatwood with 4 ground balls. MLB.TV Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to At-Bat Premium. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Curtis Granderson. Curtis came in late last night, had 1 at bat and struck out. Right now Terry Collins just searching for opportunities to get Granderson into the lineup. The Mets outfield should get even more crowded fairly shortly, with Juan Lagares having started his rehab assignment last night, coming back from a fractured thumb. By the way, I want to make a little public service announcement. See if this inning goes on, because this is really important for everybody who watches baseball. I saw a very respected national columnist today make a report, a breathless report about somebody having been placed on waivers. Folks, it's August. Every team places every player on waivers in the course of August. So if you read anything about a player being placed on waivers this month, ignore it. It's a non-story. What that means is they're trying to see what the interest level is in certain players, trying to pass them through and maybe make a trade. Nice play, Story, the spinorama, and he threw him out. Gorgeous play by Story. That Colorado infield continues to impress. LeMahieu in the last inning, and now Story going far to his left and gunning down Granderson. Beautifully done. No score in the second at Coors Field. Beautiful dome of the State House right downtown. Gerardo Parra leads off in the home second against Chris Flexen. Parra 1 for 4 last night. Just to complete the thought that we began last inning about August and waivers, there are different kinds of waivers. For instance, right before the trade deadline, the Mets passed Josh Edgin through waivers. Now those are irrevocable waivers, and if somebody had claimed him, they would have kept him, and the Mets would have lost the player. It's hit out to right center field toward the gap, and that's going to land. Conforto cuts it off, but Parra easily into second base with a leadoff double.
Well, the most spacious outfield in the National League, and it shows in bright flashing lights here. It's a lot of ground for Conforto to cover. You really got to have some jackrabbits out there in the outfield here.
Wide open spaces you talked about.
Where the Buffalo roam.
Yeah, well, it's true in this ballpark too. Anyway, speaking of Josh Edgin, he passed through waivers, so he's going to report to Las Vegas, and the Mets are able to keep him. But in August, the waivers are revocable, which means that if you put a player on waivers and somebody claims him, if you don't want to let him go, you pull him back, or you can arrange a trade with that team for that player. But again, just to reiterate, virtually every team puts virtually every player on waivers in the month of August. So anything you read about a player being placed on waivers this month, ignore it. It has absolutely no meaning. Trevor Story 1 for 3 last night, struggling through his sophomore season.
He is third in the National League in strikeouts.
He grounds one to the left side. Rosario runs around it and throws quickly to get Story. Lesson learned by Rosario, who took too long on a Story ground ball in about the same spot last night and gave up an infield hit. Not this time.
Left of your screen, watch Rosario on the break. Gets around it, absolutely. Throws on the run. Very nice. So showing some range to his right.
What is interesting that on both those balls, the one last night and the one tonight with Story, he ran around it rather than playing it on his backhand.
Correct.
And just talking to Terry Collins about it today, Terry said at some point he's going to have to, on the bang bang type plays,
which was last night,
right, use that backhand so he can plant quickly and get more on his throw.
If you can get around the ball without circling, when by circling you're going to circle towards the outfield. If you can get it in front of the ball anytime by doing a direct line to the ball, you do it. But on the bang bang ball hit hard, you got to go to that backhand.
Carlos Gonzalez 1 for 4 last night, had an infield hit to drive in a run against Jerry Blevins in the 8th. What a hard luck inning Blevins had. He gave up a very soft single to Parra and then an even softer single to Carlos Gonzalez.
And that one, that bleeder down the third base line, had an RBI in it,
which raised his batting average with runners in scoring position up to the 169 figure you saw there. So you get a measure of just how difficult things have been for Gonzalez, who's a 3-time All-Star.
Well, it's a
fastball from Flexen outside 3-0.
It's a mystery. He's on an option year. I mean, it could be a free agent next year. Usually that brings the best out in any player. He's been an All-Star, or one of the top players in the National League for a long time. He's just big, strong, tall kid. Boy, he's just having a tough time of it.
Flexen behind 3-0. The catcher Hannigan on deck. And he walked it. No. Call strike. Cargo thought he had a walk, but Kerwin Danley said no.
I don't see D'Arnaud moving the glove, Gary. Well, that did miss. I would have got that call.
Well, someone of your stature. Parra at second and 1 out. And Gonzalez takes for a strike, 3-2. There's your umpiring crew. Kerwin Danley, the crew chief. Reynolds, Barrett, and Knight rounding out the crew. Flexen's gone from 3-0 to 3-2, and he just missed outside. And he walks Gonzalez to put 2 men on.
So you see that Flexen has that little 12-6 on your dial, on your little wristwatch. Slow curve that he tries to drop on the outside corner to the lefty.
So now Ryan Hannigan with 2 on and 1 out. Hannigan 1 for 3 last night. Late addition to the lineup in last night's game when Jonathan Lucroy was scratched with a stomach bug, and Lucroy is still out, still has not made his Rockies debut after coming over in a deadline deal. Hannigan's had just 84 at bats this year. And Flexen misses up and in. With the arrival of Lucroy, the Rockies sent Tony Walters, who's done most of their catching this year, down to the minors so he can play regularly, with the figuring that Lucroy is going to get most of the playing time.
It's a guy that gets, he got the plays for the first quarter on that arm there.
More and more catchers have those. Good curveball by Flexen to get even 1-1.
So I'm sure what's on his forearm there is, I would think, tendencies of hitters, the game plan against hitters. That to me should be not allowed. You got to learn on your own.
Well, sometimes these days, as Hannigan takes a slider for a strike, we see outfielders with little cards that they'll pull out of their back pocket before every at bat to see where they're supposed to be playing in shifts. You remember the Dodgers wanted to use lasers to position their outfielders, and Major League Baseball overruled that idea.
You know what my feeling is? You've got 5 coaches. One's an outfield coach. He's the one that should know, and the players should know. If they don't, he's the one that moves them.
Yeah, well, I mean, coaches have been doing that for years, even before the prevalence of all the shifts now. And a turn by Flexen, but Walker was not at the bag. You got the pitcher Chatwood, who's one of the better hitting pitchers, waiting on deck. One-two to Hannigan, and he struck him out with a slider. Second strikeout for Flexen, 2 out of the inning.
Not fishing for a bad one.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now Chatwood, who is a lifetime .224 hitter, 5 for 30 this year. And he'll bat with 2 out and 2 on, looking for his first run batted into the season. Pare at second, he doubled. Gonzalez at first, he walked. And Chatwood slices one foul. Rockies passed by the Diamondbacks last night. Took over the #1 wild card spot by a half game over Arizona as the Diamondbacks got blown out by the Cubs. Colorado 15 games over 500. 60 wins by the end of July was the most they've ever had. So it's drawn a lot of interest. They've got big crowds here in Denver as their success has broadened. There's a good slower curve from Flexen, and it's 0-2. It's the wild card standing, so things are looking very bright for this franchise to get into the postseason. Nothing is assured, but with Milwaukee the closest to the 2 wild card leaders, and the Brewers struggling to maintain their equilibrium after falling out of first place in the NL Central. Here's the 0-2. Slowly hit. Rosario in. And gets Chatwood to end the inning. A leadoff double. Flexen pitches around it. Still no score in Denver after 2. Take the mound at Citi Field and throw out the first pitch in the Mets' first pitch sweepstakes presented by SNY and Papa John's. Go to sny.tv/Papa John's and enter today. Some fast moving pizza. We go to the 3rd inning at Coors Field. Mets and Rockies no score. That's allowed the lower third of the order coming up against Tyler Chatwood. That means Ahmed Rosario will get his first plate appearance of the night.
His 5th plate appearance of his young career. 1 for 4 last night with a base hit. That was in his last at bat in the 8th inning. Got that out of the way.
An infield hit to deep short. He wound up at second base on the play when Trevor Story threw the ball away. So Rosario will lead off. He says hi to the umpire and the catcher. He surprised Ryan Hannigan last night when he kind of tapped his chest protector. Took Hannigan a little bit, set him back on his heels a little bit.
Can you imagine him doing that to Jerry Grody?
He's taking a swing at you with hands covered with pine tar.
I made that mistake. I said hi to Jerry Grody. I got a snarl back.
Jerry was famously irascible.
He looked at me. Okay. With contempt.
Chatwood gets ahead on Rosario 0-2. You saw the graphic there. Ahmed at 21 years old, the 6th youngest player in the majors, and that Ozzie Albies is one of the ones who is younger, 20 years old, the Braves infielder who came up last night as well and made his major league debut, and they're playing Albies at second base. He's been a shortstop in the minor leagues. As Rosario strikes out on a pitch in the dirt, and Hannigan makes the toss. And it's interesting what the Braves have done as you watch Rosario chase that pitch out of the strike zone.
Old slider in the dirt. That has been the concern of the Mets, is that he does chase, and you would hope that with experience you learn to lay off. If you don't, you're going to have a difficult time.
So here's Travis d'Arnaud. So the Braves, they have Dansby Swanson, who's actually in the minor leagues right now because he wasn't hitting a lick, but he's their shortstop of the future and the near present. Anyway, so they put Albies at second, And tonight the Braves are playing Brandon Phillips for the first time at third base, doing very much what the Mets did with Asdrubal Cabrera.
And what did they do with the first base position, Gary?
Well, because Matt Kemp is hurt, they're now playing Matt Adams in left, and they moved Freddie Freeman back to first base. But you know, Freddie has played third base for about a month, and he's done okay there.
You know, he's an infielder. It's just the other corner position. It's the concern would be more the throws across the diamond. That would be a new throw for him. Ooh. You just see, oh, I got Kerwin Danley in a sensitive spot.
I think it got Hannigan.
Oh, I think it got Danley.
Yeah?
Yes, I see him wince. And I can just see Hank Greenberg, who was the TV voice of the Warriors with the 15-foot jumper shoots at Hank Greenwald, excuse me. 15-footer goes 10. That was that curveball.
Roll to the right side. LeMahieu gets in front of it. And so Chatwood has retired the first 8 with 2 strikeouts and 6 ground balls. So Chatwood, true to form so far, keeping the ball on the ground. And here's Chris Flexen.
Well, so far he hasn't walked anybody. That's been his bugaboo. And he said in the paper this morning in the Denver Post that he was going to go after hitters. Shoot, you're a veteran.
Flexen to the hole. Story with the jump throw on a hop. Reynolds stayed on the bag. Side retired. Well, now they're just showing off.
It's nice to see. Good
Rockies
defense.
infield with some serious leather. This time it's Reynolds with the long hop, able to pick it and stay on the bag. Story from the hole throws out Flexen. 3 perfect innings for Chatwood. Flexen will head back to the mound. Still no score. A couple of times to play in the 9th inning last night with Ahmed Rosario, but here's what led up to it.
Well, they're coming in right now was a 3-2 count. So Walker, the veteran's coming in and letting everybody know who is covering here. And with LeMahieu, as he's talking now, communicating to Rosario. So they're set. They know what they're doing.
Walker saying stay put, and he did stay put as long as he could, but just a really difficult play for your first big league game to have to deal with.
Well, he just got caught in between. You know, you got to have, when you're going to cover, you cover late. You're looking still at the hitter. And make sure both feet are planted, like I said earlier, so you can go left or right on contact.
Charlie Blackmon leads off in the home third. What I like about the entire situation was the way Walker took charge of it, made sure Rosario knew exactly what was going on, made sure he knew what Robles was going to throw so they could adjust accordingly. Blackman, who flied out to left his first time up. Top of the batting order, second time through for Flexen, who's given up a double in each of the first 2 innings, but been able to get around it each time.
Well, this is the 5th game that the Mets and Rockies have played this year, and Blackman's feasted. And at a .388 clip. He is a nice player, let me tell you. He's a very fine player. It's really basically the 2 stars on this team are Arenado and Blackman on the offensive side.
They've got some pretty good support figures in that lineup
Absolutely.
as well. Your Spectrum high-speed pitch, here it comes.
Okay.
Chatwood by Deuce. Hold all tickets until the result has become official.
There are so many categories, offensive categories, that Blackman and Arenado are in the top 10 in the National League together.
Two from Flexen, and it's laced toward the middle, and Rosario is there to snag the liner for the first out. Blackman hit one ticketed for center field, but Rosario able to get there.
Nice play right there. Good reaction. It's nice to see. Well done. Flash and leather. It's what I saw in spring training, folks.
So 1 out and nobody on. Now LeMahieu took one the other way for a double his first time up. Well, the ascension of Ahmed Rosario to the major leagues has done one undeniable thing. It makes the Mets more athletic. It's something that they have lacked for most of the year. And that translates into range on the infield, among other things.
Need some more of them out there. Defense wins you ball games.
Well, the next call up is likely to be another plus defensive player, and that's Dominic Smith.
Young man I saw in spring training for the first time a lot. And boy, did he impress me with the leather. Very smooth with the glove, and very smart. Plays a very intelligent first base, what I saw in spring, and I really liked his swing. So anxious to get him up here and put him over there.
Flexen's walked 1 tonight after walking 4 in 3 innings in his first start in San Diego. He's behind 3-0 on LeMahieu, and he gets a strike. Arenado on deck. We're talking about Arenado and Blackman high in National League categories. How about 1-2 in the National League in extra base hits?
Yes.
Arenado 63 and Blackman 57 extra base hits, again with more than a third of the season remaining. And LeMahieu is 2 for 2. So a couple of liners against Flexen. The first one catchable, the second one not.
Ball came back over the middle, went right down and got it. Big stride, LeMahieu, but he's a big, tall guy with long legs, 6'4". You know, getting back to that 1-2 in extra base hits. In '84, the Red Sox was Tony Armas, and Dwight Evans that were 1-2, and in the '26 Yanks with Ruth and Garrick. So
those are the only 2 times it's happened.
That's what I got right here.
So it's never happened in the National League.
That's a very good point. If this information is on the spot here,
I would have thought that one of the earlier Rockies teams in the Blake Street Bombers years with Walker and Galarraga and Burks and Castilla and all those guys, that Dante Bichette, that it would have happened somewhere in those years with all the big numbers they were putting up. Arenado swings over the slider, and it's 0-2.
Arenado very antsy with that front foot, his stride foot. That would be his right foot. You can take a look at it prior to the next pitch. Actually, would be. Did I say left or right? Look, that
Right foot would be his left.
The one on the left, folks. Check it out. He gets very antsy. Both feet. Look at that. Just fiddling around.
Now, why would a hitter do that?
You know what he's doing? Both feet. I think it's the way of him to stay relaxed. And most hitters, who did we show it was fiddling with
Jay Bruce.
Jay Bruce with his fingers, and also Neil Walker does it. But it looks like Arenado. It's how he kind of goes back and forth. It's kind of a rocking motion. Interesting.
So he doesn't get stiff.
I guess it's just everybody has their own little deal, their own idiosyncrasies. Whatever works for you.
It's funny how guys pick those things up along the way, and then they have some success with them, and so they stay with it.
Right.
And in many cases, when you have multiple things going on, then it starts to become a little bit of a burden. Sometimes you have to make the adjustment away from it. But no adjustments necessary right now for Mr. Arenado, the way he has dominated.
Oh, well, I think you said it right. He's got to be the leading candidate right now for the National League Most Valuable Player. And you've got Bryce Harper having a fantastic year. The center fielder, Blackman's having a terrific year.
He's going to be in there.
How about Bellinger and the Dodgers?
2-2 coming, and the curveball inside, and the count runs full. Look at tonight's Verizon trivia question. Only 3 players in Major League history have led their league in homers, RBIs, and total bases 2 straight seasons. Nolan Arenado has done that the last 2 years. So who are the other 2 who have led their league in homers, RBIs, and total bases in 2 straight seasons?
Colorado is not a team that steals a lot of bases. They've stolen 38 on the year. They're ranked 13th.
And their top base stealer is Ian Desmond, who's sitting on the disabled list. Who has 5 this year, but he's also been caught 4 times. 3-2 with 1 out. He's running. Arenado pulls one through the hole, a base hit. LeMahieu will have to stop at second. So back-to-back 1-out singles for the Rockies. And all 3 hitters in the inning have hit it hard against Flexen.
Little slider right there, hanging. Yeah, it didn't do much, did it? Just stayed right in the middle. Lucky he didn't lift it. And one thing that Arenado does, Arenado really strides towards the second baseman. The traditional second base position with his front foot. He strides, so he's kind of makes him more of a natural hitter to the opposite gap, which he hit that home run last night. Doesn't look that bad there, but and not much of a stride at all. Look at that, very little stride. And a lift of the back foot. We see a lot of that today.
So now 2 on for Mark Reynolds, who struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. And Flexen misses low ball 1. 3rd straight inning, the Rockies have gotten a runner into scoring position. They've gone 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position so far. Mayhew at second, Arenado at first. So Flexen's had a lot of traffic, but so far has been able to work his way through it. Now another test here in the 3rd, working the 2nd time through the batting order. And Reynolds takes a slider low, and it's 2-0.
Reynolds having a terrific year against right-hand pitching, hitting over 300. And we'll take a look at that Rockies offense. There are some numbers for you. They're always up there. What's a little bit surprising is the home runs. Usually they're first or second or third in home runs. But look at the slugging percentage, and they're doing it with the extra base hit, the doubles and the triples.
You saw the number with the runners in scoring position, what the Cardinals did a few years ago, dominating the league by getting hits in these spots. Not so far tonight. And Reynolds fouls it back, 2-1.
Well, just another caveat there on that, Gary. The runners in scoring position with 2 outs. That's the toughest RBI in the game. They came into this series hitting .321 as a team with Runners in scoring position with 2 outs. That's efficient.
Of course, Arenado has been the prime mover there. 452 this year with runners in scoring position, the best in the league.
I like this ballpark. I like to hit in it.
Well, yeah. I don't think there'd be too many hitters who'd think otherwise, because it presents something for every offensive player. Right? If you're a power hitter, ball flies. If you're a gap hitter, it's huge. Plenty of places to hit in the gaps. If you're a guy who hits the ball on the ground is rock hard and the ball gets through easily.
Yes, it does.
So there's something in it for every kind of hitter.
Dangerous count right here.
2 on and 1 out. 3-1 to Reynolds, and the slider fouled off. So Flexen going with a 3-1 breaking ball against Reynolds, who has always been a high strikeout guy. Set the major league record for strikeouts in a season when he was starring for the Diamondbacks. 223 strikeouts in a season.
Well, he's got 121 this year.
Only second on his own team.
I hear you.
Trevor Story has 124.
That would demoralize me.
Well, we showed the strikeout numbers earlier. It doesn't seem to be demoralizing anybody. 3-2 with 1 out. The runners hold, and Reynolds lines one up the middle of base hit. LeMahieu around third, being waved home. Conforto's throw to the plate is cut off, and the Rockies have the lead. Mark Reynolds with an RBI single. 1-0 Colorado. 72nd run batted in for Reynolds.
Well, when you fall behind in the count, you usually pay the fiddler there, and that's good hitting by Reynolds right there. That's an inside corner fastball, and he stayed nice and level up the middle. And not even Conforto here in this spacious park can make a tough play at the plate there with the strong arm.
That's the other thing about this park, because the outfield is so big. First to third, second to home, they're practically automatic.
Arenado is not a speedster, and he's just looking to see if the ball is going to get over the cutoff man's head. That's your read if you're the back runner in that play. There's Dan Warthen going out to the mound. Plays right in front of you. You follow the ball, and you realize once that it's at the cutoff level, you make that turn like he did and get back.
So 3 straight hits, all struck well. And remember, the only out of the inning was a bullet off the bat of Blackman that Rosario was able to catch. So 4 straight hard hit balls against Flexen this second time through the order. Now he's got Gerardo Parra, who found the gap in right center for a double his first time up. And he misses badly for ball 1. Collins would love for Flexen to get at least 5 innings in. The Mets had to use a lot of bullpen last night. This ballpark will tear up your bullpen. Taken low, and it's 2-0.
Falling behind the count again. Do not want to fall behind the count in this ballpark.
Parra starts the night hitting .411 with runners in scoring position. And there's a borderline strike, 2-1. When you talk about complementary players in this Rockies batting order, Parra has been superb.
Well, he brings you defense. You've got to have outfield defense, and the Colorado Rockies have it in all 3 positions. And he's a table setter, basically. Parra. He's a line drive hitter.
He's going to walk a lot, but he's hitting over 350. Who needs walks? And he takes the off-speed pitch for a strike, and it's 2-2.
A lot of the hitters are kind of questioning Kerwin Danley behind the plate on an outside corner. He's got a very generous outside corner. The borderline strike is going to the pitcher,
which, you know, you have to do if you're a home plate umpire in this ballpark. Otherwise, the games will last 5 hours. You have to call a generous strike zone.
I never thought of it that way, Gare.
Not sure if the umpires think of it that way either, but
should be
if they have a small strike zone, you're in for a very long night.
Should be a league directive.
Well,
letters and knees.
I mean, I know you feel the same way, Keith. I think the larger strike zone that they call, the more hitters swing the bat, the better game you have.
I agree, and just stay with the rule book. You know, it's right here, right? The letters are below, and the knees. It's that simple. The rule book says it all. It doesn't need any changes.
You know, it sounds counterintuitive, talking about all the strikeouts in the game. 2-2 coming to Parra, and he pulls one just foul. But if you call more strikes, there will be fewer strikeouts.
Well, and you'll get hitters to swing the bat.
Exactly. There'll be more balls put in play, which makes for a more aesthetically pleasing game. And I think that's the bottom line. You know, the game is gravitated toward home runs and strikeouts, and you understand that, and it's the natural evolution of the game. But the way to get hitters to swing the bat more and put more balls in play is to call more strikes.
Well, that reminds me, and I've mentioned it before in more than a few broadcasts, old National League umpire Frank Pulley.
Parra lifts one to left center, back in the gap. Cespedes won't get there, and it goes all the way to the wall. Arenado scores. Reynolds right behind him. It's a 2-run double for Gerardo Parra. 3-0 Colorado. Those large gaps at Coors Field.
Want to come in with a slider, and again it misses away and down. Goes down and gets it. Now he didn't really. This ball really carried here. Granted, it's 390 out there in left center, folks. That's a spacious gap right there.
Well, now the question is going to start to brew for Terry Collins. How much do you let flex and take? You're going to be a little more liberal with your starting pitchers here because runs do tend to generate easily. But Flexen's now given up 4 straight hits. 3 runs are in, and Trevor Story is the batter. He grounded out to short his first time up, and he takes a curveball for a strike. Last night the Mets used 5 relief pitchers for a total of 3 2/3 innings after Steven Matz got knocked out in the 6th. And Terry's already studying that lineup card, trying to figure out what to do.
Part of the equation for Terry too is there is no safe lead in this ballpark. A 3-run game, a 4-run game, a 5, 6-run game early is not insurmountable in this ballpark.
No question, but you've also got a young pitcher on the mound.
I understand.
Second big league startup from Double-A, and that curveball nearly hit Story. I don't know how he got out of the way of it. 1-1.
Could be a game to bring in Bradford. Bradford hasn't pitched in a long while. You know,
Right.
Looking at the guys that are available, Goodell.
Salas didn't pitch last night.
Yeah. Let's go to Bradford.
One and one to Story with Carlos Gonzalez on deck. And that's grounded toward the middle. Rosario can't get to it. Parra goes to third. He's going to be waved around. Here comes the throw by Cespedes. He airmails it home. D'Arnaud gets the tag down, but safe.
Oh.
And now, did he say safe and then out?
He said out, safe out, and that's going to be. I think there's going to be a challenge here.
Well, Cespedes didn't bother about a cutoff man. He just threw it on the fly to D'Arnaud, who had enough time to reach back and get the tag down on Parra. Danley first said safe, then said out. I imagine the second call will stand.
Watch this here. Did he get on top over it? I think he did.
That was a very odd call by Danley. But it does look like he tagged him on the back foot. And no challenge by the Rockies, so that's the second out of the inning.
Very curious that the third base coach, Cole, sent him on that play.
Well, especially against the arm of Cespedes.
And he broke back to second base.
Now Gonzalez hits one deep to center. Back goes Conforto near the wall. It's out of here. Carlos Gonzalez with a 2-run homer. 6 straight Colorado hits, a 5-0 Rockies lead.
Well, they're getting onto the off-speed stuff.
Cargo had gone more than 70 at bats since his last home run. He hit that one dead central for his 7th of the year.
Another breaking ball on the outside corner, and look at him reach for it. That's how strong he is. Now you got the light air, but nonetheless.
Now Ryan Hanigan takes a strike. So 7 hitters in this inning, 6 hits. A line drive out, a runner thrown out at the plate, and now Carlos Gonzalez, who hadn't hit a home run in a month, takes Flexen deep over the center field fence. And now Hanigan chops one. Rosario will have to wait for it. Hanigan doesn't run fast. The low throw handled by Bruce, and the side is finally retired. But a battering put on by the Rockies. 5-run score. They lead 5-0 after 3. Free Shirt Friday when the Mets take on the Dodgers at 7:10 p.m. All fans in attendance will receive a Jacob deGrom replica jersey courtesy of Geico. For tickets, visit Mets.com/Free Shirt Fridays. And it's just a coincidence that Jake is going to be pitching on Friday night against Yu Darvish in his Dodgers debut.
Fantastic. Can't wait.
Hoping that it goes a little differently than it's gone for Chris Flexen here tonight. What a battering put on by the Rockies in that 3rd inning. Mets will try and respond in the 4th against Tyler Chatwood, who's yet to allow a base runner. Jason Bradford is up in the Mets bullpen. So that may be it for Flexen after a 35-pitch 3rd inning. I mean, the first batter of the inning, Blackman hit a bullet up the middle, and Rosario made a diving catch, and then 6 straight hits, nothing cheap about any of them, capped by the Carlos Gonzalez home run.
It was a rugged inning.
The only thing that put a crimp in it for the Rockies was the play at the plate where Parr got thrown out by Cespedes. Otherwise, it would have been even worse. Conforto struck out his first time up, one of 2 strikeouts for Chatwood, who's gotten all his other outs on ground balls tonight.
Oh,
and that one bounces in.
That got Danley again.
That one was well off the mark, and Danley took the brunt of it. And the Rockies trainer is going to come out and have a look. They get him in the knee, Keith? I couldn't tell.
He's hurt, and I think he got him in the arm. Yep, he got him in the arm. Oh, let's see. Geez, that's. Oh,
right,
got the hand.
Oh, that hurts. Just on the outside of that left hand. It's like getting hit by a pitch. You worry about that hamate bone. And so many hitters break when they get hit on the hand.
Someone's going to go inside. One of the umpires. They're going to thinking about.
You know, they'll give him a moment. Kerwin's a tough guy. I'm sure he'll try and stay in if he can. But that was such a wild pitch from Chatwood.
One of the umpires is going underneath.
So they'll put on the gear just in case Stanley needs to come out. I think there was Lance Barrett who went underneath to get the gear on. He had been umpiring at second base.
He's still hurting.
And they need some ice and some x-rays, I would think, on Danley.
And he's going to take it in.
Yeah, he's coming out. So we'll have a delay here. Usually takes 10 or 12 minutes for the substitute home plate umpire to get his gear on.
Well, this one certainly bounces in front of home plate on the grass.
Yeah, you don't see that very often. So Chatwood's very errant pitch strikes Kerwin Danley on the hand. He'll leave. Lance Barrett will get the gear on to move in behind home plate. We'll take a break. We'll be right back to Coors Field. in their usual position next to each other. That leads us to tonight's quote of the game, presented by Investors Bank. Banking in your best interest. Reyes talking about his relationship with the young shortstop.
A week, maybe 3 or 4 times. So, but no, it's not only about baseball. You know, we're talking about life, because I don't try to put too much stuff on his head right now. You know, I just let him play and do whatever he needs to do down there. And I told him, man, don't be pressured, because you're going to be here sooner than later, because you're the future of this organization, you're the future shortstop here, and at some point you're going to be here.
Why have you made that connection with him in particular, and why do you feel like it's important that you maintain this type of a connection right now?
You know, it don't happen this year, it happened last year when I went to Binghamton to do, when I signed here, I went to Binghamton for like 1 week, and you know, when I see him play shortstop, I was playing Troy Bay, I said, man, this guy can play baseball. You know, this guy is gonna be in the big league soon. So since that, we made very good relationship. And you know, even when I went to Dominican, I saw him there in Dominican. And we always keep in touch. You know, so like I said, you know, when he come here, if I'm here, you know, I'm gonna be open to help him the much that I can.
Well, certainly, he has been doing exactly that since Ahmed arrived here yesterday. Reyes has been showing Rosario the ropes, how to get a good meal, how to get tickets for your family, and you know, a little baseball along the way too. It's got to be a productive thing, I would think, for both players.
Absolutely. This is part of a generational. That's been generational things been going on in baseball forever, where the veteran hands down the oral lore to the young brave, the youngster coming up, and it's handed down. And things that Rosario is going to learn from Jose. If Rosario's career blossoms, as everybody expects it will, then the tables will be turned, and it'll be his turn down the road to get a youngster to take under his wing.
While we wait for Lance Barrett to get the home plate umpire's gear on, let's hear more about Rosario from Steve Gelbs. Steve?
Well, you know, Gary, we talk so much about the relationship between Reyes and Rosario, but Rosario also has a relationship with Michael Conforto. It seems hard to believe based on their paths to the major league, but they both played in Brooklyn together in 2014 and then for a little bit in 2015 with St. Lucie. And the one thing Conforto said is that, you know, he was one of the guys, Rosario was immediately, who you could tell was going to be special, was going to be a major league player. But when he saw him for the first time, he looks like this, you know, big, lanky kid that probably doesn't have a lot of power, even skinnier than he is currently right now. But he said when he watched him hit for the first time, there's this natural power, and he doesn't know exactly why, hard to put his finger on it. But when he starts to hit up here, what Conforto said is you're going to see this pop off of the bat. And again, Conforto wasn't quite sure in his swing why it looks that way, and I'd be curious as Keith starts to see him what he sees. But one of these guys, again, Rosario, that has this natural pop that you can't really teach when you're talking about hitters.
Well, we're going to get a lot of opportunity to watch this young man. He's going to be playing every day, and like I said, in spring training, Gary, we didn't get to see him play that much. What little we saw is not enough with the playing time he had in spring training. Well, we're going to get plenty here, and you fans back home are going to get a good look on SNY and at the ballpark.
Tyler Chatwood not happy at all about the turn of events here. It was his pitch that bounced up and hit Kerwin Danley on the hand or wrist and knocked him out of the game, and it's forced a delay at a point when Chatwood, who's pitching for his rotational life right now with the Rockies, is pitching as well as he has all season, and now he's got to deal with this delay.
Well, once through the order, 9 up, 9 down, no walks. That's been his big problem, and that's a big delay right here.
It's interesting, coming into this start, Tyler Chatwood has made 107 major league starts. That's as many as the rest of the Rockies rotation combined. John Gray, German Marquez, Kyle Freeland, Jeff Hoffman have 106 starts combined. So he's like the old man of their rotation. Now they should get Chad Bettis back pretty soon, and Bettis is an experienced pitcher coming back from cancer. Testicular cancer, and it's going to be a remarkable story when he finally makes his return in a couple of weeks. But you know, Chatwood is a guy that they want in the rotation because he gives them a little experience coming down the stretch. where virtually none of those other Rockies pitchers have any experience, particularly in a pennant race.
Well, particularly with the year he had last year. He won 12 ball games. He was 12-9 last year. And he's making a lot of money, and it's a free agent year for him. So they were expecting more out of him. They weren't expecting 6-11 from him. So,
well, while we wait for Lance Barrett to make his reappearance, we'll take another break. 5-0 Rockies in the fourth. We'll be right back. He's now asking Tyler Chatwood to throw in a few warm-up pitches so that he can get adjusted to Chatwood's delivery and the speed of the game. It's probably a wise thing to do.
okay, let's play ball.
The only problem is Chatwood had thrown about 70 warm-up pitches during the break trying to keep himself sharp.
Do we have a time on that
about
delay?
13 minutes.
Seemed like
delay.
45.
Yeah. Well, was not a lot happening. Anytime you have to listen to us for that long with no action, that's a big problem.
That's why our producer took us to break twice.
So it's a 2-2 count to Conforto with the new home plate umpire in place, and Conforto takes a little bit low. Maybe a different strike zone with the new umpire.
That would have been a strike with Corbin Danley.
It might well have been. So Danley leaves the game after getting hit by a pitch, and now Conforto with a 3-2 count, and he fouls one away. So we'll see if Chatwood can stay as sharp as he was the first time through the batting order after this 13-minute delay. By the way, the umpire delay does count as part of time of game, unlike a rain delay. And Conforto lines one, and Story can't come up with it cleanly, and Conforto is aboard, the first Met base runner of the night. So after all the great defense that the Rockies have played early in this game, Story could not handle that sharp one hopper.
Right at him. Oh, he olayed it. He didn't stay in front. Brought out the red cape.
And Conforto will get a base hit out of that. So the first Met hit of the night, an infield single for Conforto, and the Mets will try and start the climb back after the Rockies put up a 5 spot against Chris Flexen in the bottom of the third. Here is Cabrera, who grounded out to short his first time up. So the first time that Chatwood has had to pitch out of the stretch tonight, and he misses high for ball one. Looks like the Marlins are going to put a walloping on the Nationals tonight after coming from 6 runs down to win last night. Up 7-0 in the ninth. Dribbled foul behind Vance Worley.
How about that?
7 scoreless for Worley tonight with 2 hits against the Nats.
What year did Worley come up with Philadelphia and pitch great? I thought he was really going to be something special, and he just it looked to me like he got heavy, chunky.
Was that during their championship year?
Yeah, it came up. Remember that late that second half and went like 9-1 or something, like 11-3 in 2011, Gary.
So it was after their championship year. 1-2 to Cabrera. Then Remember, we saw him in Minnesota on that snowy night.
Yes.
And he was just awful, and he really kind of disappeared and now has reappeared and pitching well tonight for Miami. 1-2 coming, and it skips away from Hannigan, not far enough for Conforto to make a move, and it's 2-2.
Got it on the backhand. With a guy like Chatwood, the catcher's really got to be on his toes because he's already bounced more than a few.
He's got 7 wild pitches already this season. Doesn't count the one he hit Danley with. That's grounded toward the hole. A base hit for Cabrera. Conforto around second. He'll go on to third. Gonzalez's throw is cut off. It's good base running by Conforto. Even down by 5 runs in this ballpark, just about anything to right field, you should be able to go first to third.
Well, the delay has not been kind to Mr. Chatwood. Got that ball up, almost hit Conforto. Very nice. And that was a big league slide into third base, folks. We've seen a lot of bad sliding this year. That's a nice pop-up slide by Mr. Conforto.
For Cabrera, that snaps an 0-for-12 stretch. And now the Mets get a runner to third with nobody out. And here is Cespedes, who was robbed of a hit on a fine play by LeMahieu his first time. And he takes a strike. So a chance for the Mets to make a serious dent in a hurry after falling behind 5-0. Conforto with third, Cabrera at first, and nobody out. And Cespedes takes it low, a ball and a strike. A limited sample size, but it's some big numbers in this yard. Of course, 3 of those home runs came in one game. That was here in 2015, shortly after Cespedes joined the Mets. Bouncing ball to LeMahieu, out at second. Story's relay in time for the double play as the run comes home. Bang bang play at first. We'll see if the Mets decide to challenge it. Cespedes running hard and called out by Jim Reynolds.
All right, they got him. Let's see right here. Got him.
So it's a 4-6-3 double play, no RBI, as Conforto comes home with the first Met run to make it 5-1. So yet another ground ball for Chatwood, who's been living on the ground balls tonight. Here's Bruce with 2 out and nobody on. And Jay takes up and away for ball 1. This is the 1-year anniversary of Jay Bruce's Mets debut. Made his debut against the Yankees at Citi Field a year ago tonight.
And what, 36 home runs over that year span, Garrett?
Which ties him with Dave Kingman for the 3rd highest total for any Met within a year of his debut with the team. Only Yoenis Cespedes and Carlos Delgado have hit more. 2-1 to Bruce. Well, last year, other than a strong last week, Bruce really struggled as a Met, but what a difference this year.
Yeah, I'll say.
He's always been a streaky player, but less so this year. He's been fairly consistent over the last 2 months. He lifts this one out to left field, hit well. Parra going back to the warning track at the wall. It's out of here. Opposite field home run for Jay Bruce, number 29. And now it's 5-2 Colorado. 4th home run in his last 6 games. After hitting one off the foul pole in right last night, he takes one the other way. And the Mets have 2 runs home in the 4th.
Well, you don't have to pull the ball to hit the ball out of the ballpark. It travels to the opposite field too. And that is a deep opposite field. That is 390. So that ball went around 410.
You get about a 15% boost from the thin air, and Bruce takes advantage of it.
But he went with the pitch. That's the good sign right there. What is it in golf? It's a 2-club difference up here in the high in the altitude.
Speaking the language I don't understand.
Yes, so that'll give you an idea for you golfers out there. You think it's a 9-iron in, you're using a sandwich.
How's your golf game?
I don't play golf anymore.
I know you don't. That's why I wonder about your knowledge of the game.
It was a poor choice. If it was a 5-iron shot, you would use a 7-iron. So you get the gist of it.
But what you're trying to say is that the ball goes farther.
Correct. I was just trying to get the golfers out there. I know we got a lot of Met fans that are golfers. That kind of puts it in perspective for them.
But how about for the bowlers?
Well, I can't help them there. They roll the ball.
No difference at sea level and at altitude. A little flare by Walker over the glove of Arenado, but there's Story to grab it. That's a bizarre looking play to end the inning. Mets scored twice in the 4th. Bruce now within 5 of his career high, his 29th. 5-2 Colorado. New York Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Good Humor. Good Humor Day is coming this Saturday, August 5th on SNY and at Citi Field. Good Humor, the official ice cream of the New York Mets. Double switch for the Mets. For the first time since 2004, Jose Reyes will play second base. He'll bat 9th, and Jason Bradford is in the pitch in the double switch.
6th appearance of the year. Bradford called up August 1st.
Tyler Chatwood leads off in the home 4th inning, and he takes a strike. Here's that last play where Arenado tried for it but couldn't come up with it, but Story did.
Could have been just out of his reach and could have been a distraction for Story, but nice backhand. Very unusual play. Like 2 ships passing in the night.
Bradford's last big league outing was against the Rockies at Citi Field on July 16th. Gave up 2 runs in 2 innings. 0-2 to Chatwood. And the slider off the plate, 1-2. Charlie Blackmon on deck, then DJ LeMahieu. 33 appearances for Vegas this year. It's hard to judge numbers at Vegas for hitters or for pitchers. You look at his numbers, he gave up 47 hits in 36 innings. That seems like a disaster, but with the conditions there, you never know. Reyes handles the ground ball and throws out Chatwood one away. If you remember, in 2004, the year after Reyes came up, the Mets signed Kaz Matsui, who was supposed to be a star coming out of the Japanese leagues, and took over at shortstop, and the Mets decided to move Reyes over to second base. Well, it didn't work out very well. Reyes started 41 games there, got hurt, changed the way he ran to try and stop the hamstring injuries that were plaguing him early in his career. And the next year he was back at shortstop, and Matsui was at second. And he has not played second base since, but you know, now with the addition of Ahmed Rosario, Reyes goes back to being what the Mets always intended him to be this season, which is a jack of all trades. Blackmon is 0 for 2, robbed of a hit on a diving catch by Rosario of a line drive starting the third. And Bradford misses high, 2-0.
Well, it's turning into a beautiful night, folks.
Gets one in the air to deep center, but Conforto back to the warning track, reaches and makes the catch. Just enough room as that ball continued to carry through the thin air, and Conforto stays with it for a long second out.
Well, Conforto in center field here, he didn't think it was. Watch him kind of pull up here a little bit right there. Now he gets it on again, pulls up again. He just getting experience and getting used to the light air here. That ball was not hit that good and almost went out.
You know, you made the point last night when Blackmon made that great catch on Cabrera in center field. If you play in this ballpark and you see the ball go up in the air, your first thought has to be
back.
Get back.
Right.
Because it's just going to keep going. Here's LeMahieu, who's 2 for 2, a single and a double. Bradford's last outing for Las Vegas was 4 days ago, so he's well rested. And with the double switch, certainly Terry looks like he would like to get several innings out of Bradford if he can.
That would be nice.
3 scoreless outings in his last 4 appearances for Vegas before his call up. And LeMahieu grounds one, another chance for Reyes. And he makes the play, side retired. 1-2-3 inning for Chase and Bradford. 5-2 Rockies after 4. Rockies. There was baseball here in Denver. The Denver Bears playing first at Bears Stadium and then later at Mile High Stadium. Some pretty good future major leaguers put up some pretty huge numbers playing for the Denver Bears.
That was Trader Jack.
Jack McKeon.
Yep. That 74 scorebook that was shown that looked very ancient. Makes me feel old because I played in Mile High Stadium with the Tulsa Oilers in 1974.
It should make you feel old. It's 43 years ago.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Jeez.
Well, I remember 1974. That's the year you played in the 25-inning game at Shea Stadium.
That's true.
Curtis Granderson was robbed of a hit on a fine play by Trevor Story his first time up, and he pulls one down to first. It gets by the glove of Reynolds and down the line. Granderson around first. He'll go to second as Cargo has trouble picking it up, and Granderson stands at second base, and we'll see how they score that. It's going to be an error on Mark Reynolds.
Well, we talk about the great defense of this club. The one weak spot is at first base, and that is Mark Reynolds here. Opts to play it on the side instead of getting in front. No lateral movement there. He's not known for his defense, but that's the one weak spot defensively here with this ball club.
So a two-base error as the Mets try and crank it up again here in the fifth after carving 2 runs off the Rockies lead in the fourth. Here's Rosario, who struck out on 3 pitches his first time up. Granderson at second and nobody out. And Rosario bangs one down to third. Arenado can't get it. It's down the line. A fair ball. Granderson will come around and score. Rosario racing to second. He's going to take the turn. They're going to say it went out of play. A fan interference, double or triple. They may let him stay at third, and they will. It's fan interference, but it's the umpire's discretion where to place the runner, and the third base umpire Brian Knight said put him at third base, and Bud Black will come out to argue.
There's a hanging slider right there, right down the line. Very few get by. That's a fair ball too. Good call.
So here's the fan interference. Rosario never broke stride. The fan reaches down and picks up the ball, and then it's up to the umpires to decide where to put Rosario. And watch how he came out of the box.
And he's flying out of the box. And I want you to check out his turn here. The turn at second base is outstanding. Well, he can run.
He was moving, and that was what influenced the umpires to place him at third rather than at second. I mean, the template normally is on a fan interference call to put the runner at second, but because Rosario forced the issue and was flying, the umpires used their discretion to give him 3 bases, and they're going to score it a triple. First major league extra base hit for Ahmed Rosario, and it drives in a run, his first big league RBI.
Get the ball.
So it's now 5-3, and the Mets will get the tying run to the plate here in the fifth after trailing 5-0 not long ago. And here's d'Arnaud, who grounded out his first time up, and that's grounded to short. That'll get the run in with the infield playing back. Story throws out d'Arnaud. Rosario comes in, and this is now a 1-run ball game. 5-4 Colorado.
There is no lead that is safe.
Well, that is just phenomenal speed and hustle by Rosario that created that run. Almost every other player you can think of would have been at second base on that fan interference play, but not him. So the Mets with 2 runs in the fourth take advantage of some shoddy defense by the Rockies here in the fifth to play to pair. And now Reyes up for the first time, bangs it off the pitcher's glove, but right to LeMahieu, who throws him out. Chatwood got enough of it to keep it from going up the middle, and it turns into a 1-4-3 putout for the second out.
Base hit written all over this. That's unfortunate. Living right.
So 2 out and nobody on, and now Conforto, who had a base hit and scored a run in the fourth after the 13-minute delay while the home plate umpire was switched out following the injury to Kerwin Danley. Mets have had far more success since that delay, and the second time through the order against Chatwood after he went perfectly through the first 3 innings. Hit sharply, but LeMahieu scoops that up and throws out Conforto to end the inning. But the Mets take advantage of the error by Reynolds. The hustle by Rosario, his first big league triple and RBI, make it 5-4 Colorado. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Mets have snuck back into this. They were down 5-0. Now it's 5-4. Chasen Bradford, who pitched a 1-2-3 fourth, stays on for the 5th to face Nolan Arenado, who is 1 for 2, and he takes a high strike. 0-1.
He's thought that ball was up.
Lance Barrett, who took over as the home plate umpire after Kerwin Danley had to leave. We're playing with 3 umpires now. And it was with that 3-man crew that they made the decision on the fan interference. Watch this. Watch where Rosario is when the fan touches the ball.
You decide, folks. Gary and I have already made our minds up on this one.
I mean, right there. So he's just gotten to second base. Parra is right there to pick the ball up. So do you think he would have had a triple absent the fan interference?
I think if he would have tried for it, he'd have a good throw. He's out.
And Parra's got a good arm. And you know, Bud Black came out a couple of times as Arenado pops one up. Darnell hoping for a play right to the screen, but he runs out of room. Let's watch it one more time. So here's the fan picking up the ball. Parra's right there to pick it up, and he's just gotten to the bag.
I think he's out, or would have pulled up.
So Black came out after the play. He also came out after the inning was over to talk to the umpires about it again. It's not a reviewable play. Right. The umpire's discretion on the field. And it's something you rarely see. But again, even though it might not have been the right call, it's grounded out to Rosario. Ball comes up for him, and he throws out Arenado one away. It's completely a tribute to Rosario's hustle coming out of the box that he could even influence the umpires to make that call.
Hustle utilizing his speed.
And it led to a run.
Yep. Another important note on that play. Not important, but you haven't got on that play, you did not have a third base umpire. The call was made by the home plate umpire, fair or foul, Lance Barrett, on that triple.
Well, the other piece is, I mean, we've seen it how many dozen times Arenado make that play? And that ball got past his glove right after Reynolds had made the error on the other corner. Reynolds, you don't consider a guy with a terrific glove, but Arenado almost always seems to come up with those balls.
Absolutely. It was a shock. And also, because of the triple, that's a big run. That run would not have scored. It would have been a 5-3 ball game instead of a 5-4 ball game.
Reynolds had a base hit to drive in a run in the big third inning for the Rockies when they scored all 5 of their runs. By the way, the word is that Chris Flexen, in addition to giving up those 5 runs on 6 hits and getting hit awfully hard in the third, also left the game because of a blister on his right index finger. How much of it was the battering and how much of it was the blister, it's hard to know, but that's the word. He has a blister on his right index finger. And so Bradford took over in the 4th, and he's retired all 4 batters to face him. And it comes inside to Reynolds, 1-2. Let's see. Flexen showing that index finger to Dan Warthen. The evidence. In tight. 2-2. As you see, Bradford's not a hard thrower. He tops out around 91, 92 miles an hour. Gerardo Parra on deck. But Ronnie says it all the time. The less you throw hard, the more you have to pitch inside. And you've seen him come inside twice in a row to Reynolds. And then he gets him swinging for the second out. For a strikeout for Bradford. 5 up and 5 down now for the right-hander.
Very nice. Stayed inside. Tied him up.
So 2 out and nobody on. And now Gerardo Parra, who's had a big piece of this game for the Rockies, a pair of doubles. He's driven in 2 runs. He also got thrown out at the plate by Cespedes on the base hit by Trevor Story in the 3rd inning. Otherwise, that inning might have ballooned even farther for Flexen and the Mets. It's taken outside, ball 1. So Parra doubles twice, drives in 2 runs, gets thrown out of the plate, and then is the party of the other part on the fan interference triple. He could only stand and watch.
That's a Marx Brothers skit. And there is no sanity clause.
So the Rockies fan who picked up that ball, presumably it was a Rockies fan, cost his team a run. Maybe not a championship, but it comes on the heels of Steve Bartman the other day being awarded a World Series championship
Wasn't
ring
that
by
nice?
the Cubs.
It's very nice of the Cubs to do that.
What has always impressed me in the 14 years since Bartman interfered with that ball at Wrigley Field is that he has done nothing to draw attention to himself. He has obviously suffered greatly at the hands of Cub fans who have showered him with a lot of abuse over the last decade and a half. And even in receiving the ring, he was nothing but gracious. Never.
Glad to be welcomed back to the Cub families with something in that order, right?
Never swiped back at all the abuse that he took. And you have to feel awful for him, but a little better now that he's gotten his ring. It's a nice thing the Cubs did. Two to Parra, and he struck him out on a high fastball. What a couple of innings for Chasen Bradford. 6 up and 6 down with a couple of punch outs. And now the Mets will go back to work in the 6th, down 5-4. Thanks, Doug. Well, there also has been a miracle happen in the National League tonight in Atlanta. Not only did the Braves beat the Dodgers 5-3, which snaps the Dodgers' 9-game winning streak, but the Dodgers had a lead early in that game. The Dodgers had won the last 53 games in which they had had a lead at some point, which was a major league record. And that streak comes to an end tonight. Think about that. 53 times when they had taken a lead, they won the game.
That's amazing.
And nobody had ever done that before.
Well, you mentioned, Gary, that last night they were on a pace to win 115.
Maybe 114 now. Well, it's only their 7th loss in their last 47 games. So congratulations to the Braves for that accomplishment.
Let me tell you, when it's like that, it's fun coming to the ballpark.
3-0 to Cabrera leading off in the 6th, and as Dribble takes a strike. Mets were down 5-0. They got 2 in the 4th. Runs scored on a double play. Bruce hit a home run. Then in the 5th, Rosario with the RBI triple. D'Arnaud drove him in with a ground out, and the Mets within a skinny run. That's whacked toward the middle. Story can't get it, and it's into center field. A base hit for Cabrera, and the Mets have the tying run aboard with nobody out. 2nd hit of the night for Asdrubal.
Just out of the reach of Story. Ball's ripped. Look how quick that ball gets through the infield.
So now Cespedes, who's 0 for 2 tonight, grounded into the double play that brought in the first Met run. Well, Jason Bradford has given the Mets 2 perfect innings in relief, but his spot is 2 batters away, so the Mets are going to get Fernando Salas up in the bullpen. Meanwhile, Chatwood has now given up 5 hits after going perfectly through the order first 3 innings. Still has a very low pitch count, only 65 pitches here in the 6th. And there is no action in the Rockies pen as this lead has started to evaporate. And Hannigan somehow was able to keep that in front of him on a spiked fastball, and it's 2-0.
All of a sudden, it's Chatwood's turn here to fall behind the count.
Well, Chatwood has not walked a batter tonight, which is remarkable for the guy who led the National League in walks coming into the night.
He's overdue.
But he's thrown 7 pitches in this inning, and only 2 have been in the strike zone. Good count for Cespedes with Bruce on deck. And Yanez takes his big rip. 2-1.
And that was a hitter's count. He was going for the downs and got beat up and in. A powerful swing.
He is going to start hitting some home runs at some point, and there may be a whole bunch of them coming. Bangs that one off his leg, and it's 2-2.
That's why Chatwood gets a lot of ground balls. That ball down and into the right-hander. It's hard to get under it. Watch it just kind of, you got the bat in an angle, and that ball sinks down and in, and that's what it does. It off the inside part of your foot or your ankle.
Good thing he's got that shin guard. It hurt enough even with the shin guard.
There's a very strong bones down there. When the ball hits, the bones they're not pliable. They hit with a thud. Trust me, and it hurts.
And how quickly does that go away?
It doesn't go away. Sometimes you get the shakes when you're up there. When your feet start, your foot that's got hit shakes.
Two coming, and he lays off. Cabrera takes off as the ball hits the dirt, and he's now in scoring position with the tying run. Good base running by Cabrera, who's always so alert on those pitches in the dirt.
Wild pitch. He had a very good game on the bases in Seattle. I forget which game, Gary, where he took the extra base. And he's alertly in scoring position.
8th wild pitch of the year for Chatwood. 3-2 count to Cespedes with Bruce on deck.
And Cespedes rockets one toward the left field corner. That's in there and up against the wall. That'll tie the game. Cabrera's in to score. Cespedes with the RBI double. And the Mets have come from 5 runs down to tie this game at 5-5.
He tried to go back in again, Gary. And Cespedes said, catch. I got this one. Difference in that pitch was that it was below the belt instead of upstairs. He just ripped it into the corner there.
Well, the Mets, after being held at bay first time through the batting order, have been pummeling Tyler Chatwood. A 5-0 deficit has turned into a 5-5 game. Go ahead run at second with nobody out, and Jay Bruce, who homered his last time up, at the plate. Bruce hit his home run to left field, his 29th of the year, and Hannigan struggles to stop that fastball. Ball 1. Brandon Nimmo has come out on deck. Nimmo playing close to home, got a big cheer when he came out of the dugout. He's got a lot of family and friends here from Wyoming. Closest to home he'll ever play. Scott Oberg quickly to work in the Colorado bullpen. Shortstop Story playing right behind the bag, so Cespedes can't get too far away. Bruce's home run was his 29th. It was his 75th run batted in. And Chatwood falls behind him 2-0. So Chatwood, 3 hitters in the inning, has fallen behind all 3. And starting to pay for it. Cabrera, a base hit, took second on the wild pitch, scored on the Cespedes double. Now 2-0 to Bruce. And that's low, ball 3.
Well, do you give Jay the hit sign here? I would be inclined to give him a hit sign. Swinging the bat good, smart enough, veteran enough to look middle in.
And that's a borderline strike, 3-1.
Little cutter down and in. Can you do it 2 times in a row? Still in trouble, 3-1.
Coming, and it's a called strike.
Wow.
Lance Barrett giving Chatwood a little extra, and it's 3-2.
That looked like ball 4 to me, and looks like Lance Barrett is a little rusty, getting called on to unexpected duty behind the plate.
So now a full count to Bruce. Cespedes at second, nobody out. Nimmo on deck to pinch hit. And that's ball 4, and now the Mets have 2 men on. So a single, a double, and a walk to start this 6th inning. And now in a tie game, first and second, nobody out for Brandon Nimmo. His first ever action at Coors Field, where he used to come once or twice a year as a kid to watch the Rockies play. Said the Rockies were on the TV every night growing up in Wyoming, so this is big for him.
Pitching coach Steve Foster out on the mound here and making sure that Oberg's ready. I'm sure Oberg's had enough pitches. I'm surprised that Bud Black is staying with Chatwood.
Well, you know, we say it all the time. Sometimes managers are ruled by the pitch count at the high end. Sometimes they get ruled by the pitch count at the low end. He's only throwing 76. Got to keep him in there. Not necessarily the right move, but I think it happens a lot. And probably more here, where you have to give pitchers more leeway so you don't burn out your bullpen. So now Nimmo, his second plate appearance since coming back from the disabled list. Remember, he had the partially collapsed lung he suffered just before the All-Star break. He had one at bat in Seattle, and now bats here in a tie game with 2 aboard. And Brandon takes outside for ball 1. First ever first-round draft pick from the state of Wyoming. About an hour and a half away in Cheyenne, and now playing out in the Rocky Mountains.
Head in the count. Got a pitcher out there in trouble.
And he takes it low, 2-0. That's 4 straight batters in this inning. Chatwood's fallen behind 2-0. Curtis Granderson waits on deck. Walk to Bruce was the first of the night for Chatwood, but the signs have been growing that he's lost his command here in the 6th. Now Nimmo rolls one toward the hole. Story to his right, gets the force at second. That's all. Cespedes gets back to the bag. So that's the first out of the inning. 6-4 fielder's choice moves Cespedes to third with the go-ahead run with 1 out.
Going with that sinker. Look at the range that Story shows right. That ball wasn't hit that hard, but still nice play. Got in front. Mets are set up to take the lead.
Hey, you thought that he could get Cespedes taking a wide turn, but that was not going to happen. So now Granderson with a chance to get the lead run home. First and third and 1 out. Curtis last time up pulled one over the first base bag. Looked like Reynolds was going to be able to snag it, but it went by his glove for an error that set the stage for a 2-run 5th. One of those runs unearned. Curtis doesn't hit a lot of ground balls. Rockies have the infield set up a double play depth. And Curtis takes a high strike.
Boy, he calls a high strike. Lance Barrett, high strike umpire, a high ball umpire. He doesn't give the low ball to the pitcher.
He gave the one to Bruce. Below the knees.
Yes, but I think all in all, he's a high ball umpire.
And Curtis gets it in the air to right center. It's deep. Back goes Blackman near the wall. It's out of here. Curtis Granderson with a 3-run homer gives the Mets the lead.
What did I tell you, Gary?
Number 14 for Granderson, and the Mets, who once trailed 5-0, now lead it 8-5.
And that's going to be it for Chatwood. 1 batter too many.
So the Mets have fought all the way back, and Granderson with the big blow to give them their first lead of the night.
Big right down the pipe, down in the strike zone. Curtis's power zone, and there's no doubt.
Second home run of the night for the Mets. Bruce and now Granderson, and the Mets have taken the lead. Chatwood is out. Call to the bullpen brought to you by Verizon. We'll be right back to Denver.
Right-hander Scott Oberg in for the second straight night. Comes in to face Ahmed Rosario.
He went 2/3 last night, gave up a base hit in his 48th game.
Base hit was to Rosario, his first big league hit last night. Today he has his second, an RBI triple his last time up in the 5th. That's with 4 runs home here in the 6th inning. Cespedes an RBI double. Granderson a 3-run homer. And Rosario swings and misses at the cutter, 1-2. Rosario struck out his first time up and then hit that fan interference triple over the third base bag in the 5th. So Chris Flexen is off the hook. Chasen Bradford is now pitcher of record on the long side for New York as Rosario goes down swinging for the second out. Second time Rosario's been struck out tonight.
Went after the high fastball here. But you never know with Lance Barrett. That's a strike.
Maybe. So 2 out and nobody on. Now Travis d'Arnaud drove in a run with a ground out his last time up. 0 for 2 on the night. Well, last night we had a relatively tame 5-4 game. It was scoreless for the first 2.5 innings tonight, but it's feeling a little more Coors Field-ish now.
Yes, we got 15 runs in already.
5-run leads disappear just like that.
13 runs, excuse me. My math is just terrible.
You are forgiven.
I wasn't paying attention. I'm good at basic arithmetic. It's the algebra that got me.
How big do the numbers have to be to get out of your comfort zone? Oberg, the University of Connecticut product, deals to d'Arnaud, and he fouls back the fastball at 99 miles an hour. 1-2. We'll say Reyes sitting 9th in the order would be next. Chatwood went 5 1/3, allowed 7 hits, 8 runs, 7 earned, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts, a wild pitch, and 2 home runs. And now on the short end of an 8-5 score after at one time sporting a 5-0 lead. Those are the ones I would imagine as a pitcher have to really gnaw at you, regardless of what ballpark you're pitching in. d'Arnaud takes one the other way for a 2-out hit. It's a little more of that late from Travis. And the Mets have their 4th hit in this inning.
Fastball away and down and away. Good pitch. Nice hitting by Mr. d'Arnaud. I like it when he doesn't try to overswing and hit home runs.
So now Reyes will bat for the second time. Came on a double switch in the 4th. Banged one off the pitcher's glove and was thrown out in his only at bat. And takes the fastball outside from Oberg. Reyes getting a chance to play second base for the first time in 13 years. Handled his first 2 chances with no issue. And probably he'll get the start at second base tomorrow. And the fastball outside, and Oberg is behind 2-0. Reyes the 8th man up in the inning. Michael Conforto would be next. Had scored twice in the 4th, twice in the 5th, and 4 times here in the 6th. There's a strike, a little borderline strike from Lance Barrett.
Barrett's having a very erratic start here behind the plate.
Lance Barrett took over behind the plate in the 4th inning when Kerwin Danley was hit on the hand by a foul ball. Reyes strokes one to left. Parra coming on. He'll have to play it on the hop. It bounces off his body, but d'Arnaud will not advance. He'll stop at second base. So it's a base hit for Reyes, the Mets' 5th hit in the inning.
They're just taking that ball away. They're a bunch of sinker ballers, and they're going right with it. And that's how you solve sinker ballers. And this is
fortunate that ball didn't get behind him.
And the ninth batter of the inning gets up to the plate in Conforto.
So now 2 out and 2 on. Conforto 1 for 3 on the night. Had a base hit and scored the Mets' first run in the 4th. And he takes the fastball inside from Oberg. This inning began with Asdrubal Cabrera banging a base hit to center field. Cespedes doubled. Bruce walked. Granderson hit a 3-run homer. Now a couple of 2-out hits from d'Arnaud and Reyes to keep the inning moving and give Conforto a chance with 2 men on.
Okay, what do we want to throw here?
The Rockies will need a win tonight to keep the #1 wild card spot because Arizona shut out the Cubs tonight 3-0 behind Zach Godley.
Pirates continue their slide. They got beat again. They got hot, Gary, and now they've just cooled off, and Cincinnati did it to them again.
5-2 tonight after 9-1 last night. It's a good cutter by Oberg, and it's 1-1.
Oh, he's taking his time.
Conforto rolls one toward the middle. That's a base hit. Around third, d'Arnaud. He'll come in to score. Reyes races to third. He'll be stopped there. Michael Conforto with an RBI single. The 5th run of the inning for New York. And the Mets lead it 9-5.
Well, Conforto continues to hit. Got on base 4 times last night. And here is his 2nd hit of the game. This one with an RBI on it. His 56th run batted in, folks. Hitting mainly leadoff all year.
Darren Erstad once drove in 100 runs batting leadoff, but that was in the American League where you had a position player hitting 9th.
Precisely.
So driving this many runs out of the leadoff spot in the National League in 2/3 of a season is just phenomenal.
And they've batted around.
So the Mets restarting it after the home run by Granderson. 2 out and nobody on. 3 straight 2-out hits to produce a run. Reyes now at third. Conforto at first. And now Cabrera, who led off the inning with a base hit to center field, is up again. Asdrubal is 2 for 3 tonight. That's now with 6 hits in the inning and 10 on the night. And Cabrera lofts one down the left field line, slicing away toward the corner. That's a fair ball. It bounces up out of play. A ground rule double. Reyes scores. Conforto will have to stop at third. Cabrera with an opposite field double to make it 10-5 New York.
I thought that ball was going to slice foul the way it looked from up here. And it certainly did not. Again, they want to pitch away, and Met hitters are taking them to left field with success.
Perfectly placed right inside the line. 6 runs are home in this top of the 6th inning, and 2 more are in scoring position for Cespedes, who drove in the first run of this inning with a ringing double to left. Conforto now at third and Cabrera at second. And Oberg gets the fastball in for a strike. Zach Roskup quickly to work in the bullpen with Jay Bruce due up next. Oberg came in, struck out Rosario for the 2nd out, but now has given up 4 straight hits and 2 runs. Little number foul, and it's 0-2 to Cespedes.
I've not seen Cespedes swing at so many breaking balls out of the strike zone. Even though he's swinging the bat good, having a good road trip, Still, I'm ready to see him get into that 5th gear, get in full throttle, get red hot, just break out.
This is one of those innings where you really need to get greedy. One more hit would be enormous for the Mets in this ballpark. Slider off the plate, and it's 1-2. Mets are one shy of their biggest inning of the year. They've had a couple of 7-run innings. They've played at 6 here in this inning. One-two from Oberg, and Cespedes goes down swinging, and the inning comes to an end. But 11 Mets came to bat, and 6 of them scored. Mets were down 5-0 in this game, but they took the lead on one mighty swing from Curtis Granderson. 3-run homer, his 14th of the year, and the Mets tack on a couple more and lead it 10-5 as we go to the bottom of the 6th. SNY Mets game wherever you are, on any device all season long, with live streaming presented by Verizon. Just download the NBC Sports app or visit SNY.TV, your home for live streaming coverage of every SNY Mets game. People's United Bank brings you tonight's starters. Things began well for Tyler Chatwood, finished poorly. Chris Flexen had one bad inning and then left with a blister. Mets now with a 10-5 lead. And Fernando Salas is in to pitch the bottom of the 6th and gets a strike to Trevor Story.
Well, he pitched twice in Seattle, kind of had an error made behind him, and cost him a run. It's been a tough year for Fernando.
Story is 1 for 2 tonight. Singled and scored in the big 3rd inning for the Rockies. The Rockies had a 5-run 3rd inning. The Mets trumped them with a 6-run 6th inning. And a 5-run deficit has turned into a 5-run lead. Story, then Carlos Gonzalez and Ryan Hannigan for the Rockies in the home 6th. Stay tuned. There may be more to come in this game.
This is shaping up to be one of these Rocky Mountain High games.
Grounded foul. 1-2 to Story. Jason Bradford was terrific. His first big league outing in a few weeks. With 2 perfect innings. Struck out 2. He's now pitcher of record on the long side. Salas with the 1-2, and Story goes down on strikes for the first out of the inning. 3rd straight Rocky to be struck out. One out and nobody on. Now Carlos Gonzalez, who homered his last time up.
Here's the swing right here on the home run, his 7th home run. Now watch his back foot on the swing, folks. And you see where he's dug in, and look at the follow through. Where did that foot go? Wow. Usually that back foot's your anchor.
So what do you make of that?
Well, I see a lot of hitters do it, and I don't get it. I saw Clemente do it. If you remember that home run he hit off of was it Acquia or McNally? Opposite field.
World Series in 1971.
Right, 71 into the right center field. He dropped his back foot and drove and hit that curveball over the right center field fence. I think it was off. It was off Cuellar, I believe. Mike Cuellar.
So, if it's possible to do that and generate enough power even without that back foot planted, why have hitters always been taught to use that back foot as their base?
Well, sometimes it's usually when you have a shift like that, Gary, it's usually an off-speed pitch, and maybe you're caught a little out in front and you're hanging, and that's the adjustment you make on the fly.
And Gonzalez goes down on 3 pitches this time, and Salas has back-to-back strikeouts, and that's 4 in a row for the Mets bullpen.
Now watch the back foot here in this swing. Let's see if it moves. Not as much, not nearly as much on a fastball,
but still not planted.
I agree. It's something I wouldn't do, and go figure.
So after hitting his first home run in 77 at bats, Gonzalez strikes out this time, and now Ryan Hanigan, and he lifts one to right center, cutting across Conforto, but that'll land for a base hit, and Hanigan has a 2-out single. That's just a matter of all that space in the outfield. In almost any other ballpark, that's an out, but not here.
I agree.
Now Alexi Amarista will be the pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher Oberg. Antonio Senzatella up in the bullpen. Got off to a great start as a starter this year, but recently banished to the bullpen with an excessive number of starters. It's given Bud Black some more options. Here's Amarista, and it should get even easier for him because at some point fairly soon the Rockies are going to get Chad Bettis back from the disabled list after battling with cancer. And Bettis will give them an experienced starter, and that'll free up somebody else to go to the bullpen. Amarista fouls it away. Alexi Amarista, veteran, better known as the Little Ninja. And by little they mean 5'6", 160 pounds. He's Altuve sized. Although Altuve probably carries a few more pounds than Amarista. And Salas, it's a good fastball working tonight. Gets ahead 1-2. Altuve just named American League Player of the Month. No surprise there after the month he had.
He hit what, 485 for the month of July, and he was making a run at 500 for the
a couple
month.
of hitless games right at the end of the month.
Right.
Otherwise he might have done it. Amarista lifts one to left. Cespedes, a late start going back, and he made the catch. Great recovery by Cespedes. He got frozen for a moment, but he retreats and makes a terrific play on Amarista to end the inning.
There's your recovery.
Going away like a wide receiver, and Salas, he liked that. It might have surprised him a little bit, but there was the ball in Cespedes' glove. Still 10-5 New York after 6. Thanks, Doug. We always talk about Stanton and how his defense is underrated.
And the strong arm to boot.
Here's the Cespedes catch a moment ago.
Nice recovery by Yankees.
Antonio Senzatella is on to pitch. He's been in the rotation most of the year for the Rockies.
This will be his sixth. It'll be a 5 innings out of the bullpen. He and his teammate Kyle Freeman are tied for rookies in the National League with wins at 10. And how about that? Win 10 games and you're thrown in the bullpen.
Well, they started to catch up with him. They put him in the bullpen for 3 outings. Then he made 2 more starts. Bruce pops one foul, and that'll go into the stands. He last pitched July 24th, so he's been off. Jacob deGrom on deck to pinch hit. So Senzatella has been off for more than a week since he gave up 4 runs in 4 innings in St. Louis in his last outing. Paul Sewald up in the Mets bullpen. Bruce has homered and walked in his last 2 plate appearances. He's 1 for 2 on the night. Pitcher's spot is due up next. That's why deGrom's on deck to pinch hit. It's become a more frequent sight of late as the Mets continue to go with a 4-man bench. They've already used Reyes and Nimmo tonight, so that leaves just Flores and Rene Rivera fouled away, and we're only in the 7th inning. So rather than use Wilmer at this point with a 5-run lead, Terry will use deGrom instead. Jake's already had 3 official at bats as a pinch hitter, 0 for 3. Senzatella bounces that slider. 2-2.
You can see Senzatella is a big guy, big burly pitcher.
Just 22 years old, native of Venezuela. Was in the rotation right from the start of the season for the Rockies, and he was tremendous early on. 2-2 coming, and it's pulled on the ground down to Reynolds at first. He'll take it himself to retire Bruce. 1 out on the top of the 7th. And now deGrom looking for his first successful pinch hitting appearance. He has gotten the most pinch hit at bats, but Wheeler and Matz are the guys who have the actual pinch hits.
He's got a home run. Matz has got a home run. Has he hit one yet?
No, Matz hasn't hit one.
Right.
Lugo hit one.
Lugo got one.
deGrom hit one. Of course, Syndergaard had 3 last year, 2 in 1 game. So it's going to take a while for anybody to match that.
He doesn't need to be swinging any bats. He needs to get that lat healthy.
Well, he's not yet gotten up on the mound yet, Syndergaard, but he's close, and so is Harvey. But the word is that Jerry's Familia had his first bullpen session yesterday, and that's a big step. Mets are hoping to have Familia back within the next 3 weeks. Fouled away. Jake will make his next start Friday night against the Dodgers, and the curveball gets him. Senzatella fans deGrom for the 2nd out. Well, Curtis Granderson's home run gave the Mets the lead in the 6th. There's the Jeep pitch cast.
Well, they left Bud Black left Chatwood in 1 batter too long here. Curtis got himself a fat little cutter.
Nice catch by Salas in the bullpen.
And that's the game breaker right there, the 3-run shot. That was Curtis's 14th.
Snapped a 5-5 tie after the Mets had rallied from 5 runs down.
They kind of flipped that around, didn't they?
Well, it's the kind of thing we've seen here before. And you said it early in the game when we were talking about Flexen and how far you go with him. You know, you give up 4 or 5 runs early and it's not the end of the world.
Correct. But Bradford was the one that came in and put the fire out, and he is the pitcher of record. If the Mets hang on and win this ball game and don't relinquish the lead.
The Mets have gotten 3 scoreless innings out of the pen, 2 from Bradford, 1 from Salas. And they'll pass the baton in the bottom of this inning. Anderson takes a call, 3rd strike. Inning over. So Senzatella gets the Mets out 1-2-3 in the top of the 7th. Stretch time in Denver, 10-5 New York. Road trip tomorrow afternoon starting at 3 o'clock Eastern time, so our coverage begins at 2:30, and you'll want to know the city probables. That would be Rafael Montero for the Mets and hard throwing German Marquez. That'll be the Mets' first look at him. The rookie right-hander has been terrific for the Rockies this season. Mets have a chance for a 500 road trip with a win tonight and a win tomorrow. Top of the batting order, Paul Sewald in to pitch for New York. Charlie Blackmon leads off in the home 7th and takes ball 1.
One inning plus yesterday was going to be the pitcher of record, but the Mets came back and tied it up. He was relieved by Blevins, and those 2, a blooper and a bleeder, brought in the run. That was Sewald's run.
Gets in on Blackmon, who pulls one foul and broke his bat in the process. Mets bullpen has been terrific so far tonight. Chasing Bradford 2 perfect innings, and Fernando Salas a scoreless inning, 1 hit, couple of strikeouts, and now Sewald working in the 7th. Tampa Bay beat Houston again tonight. 3-0 final. Dallas Keuchel came back from the DL, lost for the first time after publicly complaining about the Astros not getting any help at the trade deadline.
And that would have been bullpen help, I assume, right, Gary?
Yeah, but you know, you've got a 15-game lead. Everything's going right. Why would you be publicly airing out your own management?
Even if you were the circumstances were 100% correct, keep your mouth shut. You want a GM? Go GM.
Austin Pruitt pitched that game for Tampa Bay, only his 3rd start in the big leagues, and he shut him out for 6 1/3 against that tough Houston lineup. 1-2 to Blackmon off the corner, 2-2. So that American League wild card race continues to tighten. Kansas City got shut out by Baltimore tonight, so Tampa Bay is now just a half game behind Kansas City for that second wild card spot. 2-2. That's pulled to right, but right at Granderson, and Blackman retired, one away. There's the AL wild card. Seattle is trailing at Texas 5-1 in the 8th. So if that settles that way, then the Mariners will be a game and a half behind. Baltimore has begun to make progress. They've now won 5 in a row. You know, people ridiculed the Orioles for picking up Jeremy Hellickson and Tim Beckham at the trading deadline. Well, Hellickson went out tonight and threw 7 scoreless innings to shut out Kansas City. So maybe not such a bad pickup as the Orioles try and get back into it. Here's DJ LeMahieu, who's 2 for 3. Single and a double. He scored a run. You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you make those deadline deals and they work out perfectly, like they did for the Mets 2 years ago. Reyes with a beautiful pickup from the seat of his pants. Throws out LeMahieu. Like he's been playing second base every day for the last 14 years.
Well, heck of a play. Reyes to the right of your screen. Boy, oh boy, and Sewald's giving up 2 rockets. Nice play, Jose.
And you can do that from second base. It's harder to throw from the seat of your pants at shortstop.
Correct.
So Reyes with a splendid pickup to rob LeMahieu.
Good hands. Jose's always had the good hands.
Nicely done. 2 out and nobody on. Now Nolan Arenado, who's 1 for 3 tonight, singled and scored back in the 3rd. Good slider by Sewald to start him off. Rockies got all 5 of their runs in the 3rd inning. They banged out 6 straight hits against Chris Flexen, capped by Carlos Gonzalez's 2-run homer. And it could have been worse, but Cespedes threw out Pirate trying to score from second on a base hit. Little nubber right back to Sewald, and he's got himself a 1-2-3 bottom of the 7th. That's 4 scoreless innings for the Mets bullpen and a 10-5 lead going to the 8th. Who besides Nolan Arenado has led his league in homers, RBIs, and total bases 2 straight seasons? I would guess one would be a Rocky, but
Mike,
no.
oh, look at that.
Mike Schmidt and Jimmy Fox.
Both
Double X.
Did Fox do it with the Athletics?
I would assume so.
So he did do. We just heard from the truck.
So both in Philadelphia.
Both in Philly. How about that?
Here's Ahmed Rosario, who's 1 for 3. A run-scoring triple in the 5th inning. It was really a game-changing play by Rosario. The Mets were down 5-2. They had Granderson at second base. Rosario hit one past Arenado over the third base bag. and ran so hard out of the box that when a fan touched the ball leaning over the railing down the left field line, they credited Rosario with a fan interference triple, which plated an extra run in that 5th inning and got the Mets eventually within 5-4. Takes one the other way. Reynolds on the backhand. Senzatella beats Rosario to the bag, and that's the first out.
Well, if you're a pitcher, you better get over there and cover that bag with Rosario up. He can fly down that line. There's Reynolds right there, makes a nice backhand, perfect feed to his pitcher. Well, look at the long strides of a Rosario. He's long-legged. There he is, hustling down that line. That's 100% right there, Gary.
You know, we've done nothing but compare him to Reyes since last night, and it's natural because they have such an affinity and they're similar players in a lot of ways, but their running styles are very different. And Reyes probably was a little faster when he first came up than Rosario is, but he had those choppy strides,
right,
whereas Rosario has more of a long-legged stride.
A little more of a glide.
Mm-hmm. Travis d'Arnaud 1 for 3 tonight, and he bangs that one over the bag. That's a fair ball. Over to get it is Gonzalez, and so d'Arnaud will stop at first with his second single of the night. Both hit to right field.
Well, when d'Arnaud uses the whole ballpark, he has success.
So the Mets have their 12th hit of the night, their first against Senzatella, who had retired 4 in a row. And now Reyes, who singled and scored a run his last time up. Reyes did not start this game, came in on a double switch in the 4th inning to make his first appearance at second base since 2004. And he lifts one to left field, easy for Parra. And that's the second out. So two-way now Conforto. Michael is 2 for 4 tonight, had a run-scoring single his last time up in the Mets' 6-run 6th inning when they took the lead. So Conforto on base 4 times last night, twice more tonight. Keeps pushing his batting average closer to 300. Up to 296 now with his 2 hits tonight. And it's up toward his head, and he's able to get out of the way.
It was a cutter, so unintentional. It doesn't happen today anyway. You can see the cut on this ball. Look at the circle on the ball.
Doesn't make it less scary.
Well, you got time to pull that ejector button. Pull a James Bond and the Austin Martin.
Throwing out thumbtacks too. Did you get out of the way? Off-speed pitch by Senzatella, and it's a ball and a strike. Well, after seeing Mitch Haniger get hit in the mouth the other day, it's always a scary moment. Turns out Haniger was hurt a little worse than they said. They had said at first he only had a lip contusion. Turns out he had a nasal fracture as well and a concussion. So they put Haniger on the disabled list.
Yeah,
hope he won't be out too long.
I figured he got clocked pretty good.
Well, DeGrom got him square with a 95-mile-an-hour fastball.
You know, it's always those fastballs that take off and run in a right-hander to a right-hander. When Jack Hamilton hit Tony Conigliaro, the ball sailed just like DeGrom's did.
d'Arnaud at first and 2 out. And Conforto takes the breaking ball for strike 3 called. Inning over. Third strikeout in relief for Senzatella, who's thrown 2 scoreless innings. Down to the bottom of the 8th with the Mets still up 10-5. League is coming to SNY. The Northeast Regionals of the 2-on-2 tournament kick off Sunday at 4:30 on the NBC Sports app. Then live coverage continues at 8 p.m. right here on SNY. Second inning of relief for Paul Sewald. Mark Reynolds leads off the home eighth and fouls back the fastball. Sewald worked a 1-2-3 7th on just 9 pitches after going an inning plus last night, and gets a second inning in this game. This will keep the bullpen busy. They've got a left-hander up with Parra on deck. And Reynolds takes outside. This was the exact situation for Sewald last night. He worked the 7th and then faced Reynolds leading off in the 8th. And Reynolds got a base hit on a slider. See if he works him differently this time. All fastballs here, and it's 1-2. So Levin's up on the bullpen, ready to face Parra, who is next. Although Parra has torn up left-handed pitching this year, as so many of these Rockies hitters have. It's not a team that Blevins matches up with well. That's hit out to left field deep. Back goes Cespedes in the gap, and he won't get there. It hops up against the wall. And Reynolds has himself a leadoff double. So for the second straight night, Sewald is asked to work a second inning, face Reynolds, and gives up a leadoff hit.
Too much of the plate. And I'll say one thing about Reynolds. He does stay level on that high ball for a home run hitter. He's not a big uppercutter.
Well, Sewald is going to stay in to face Parra. So it would appear Blevins is getting ready for Carlos Gonzalez, who's still 2 batters away. Parra tonight, a pair of doubles, has driven in 2 runs. He's 2 for 3. Trevor Story on deck, and then Gonzalez. And Parra swings through the fastball, 0-1. And a fastball strike, and Sewald quickly ahead on Parra, 0-2.
I tell you what, he has been a pleasant surprise, Mr. Sewald. He has. He goes after hitters. He's done a heck of a job.
Well, he has injected himself into that circle of trust for Terry Collins. It's been a hard year for that circle of trust. A whole bunch of people have fallen out of it along the way. And with Addison Reed gone, it leaves Ramos and Blevins and Sewald. Swing and a miss. Parra strikes out for the first out of the inning. So Sewald has his first strikeout of the night.
Slider down and in, adding the count.
Drive around the majors brought to you by Cadillac. Irvin Santana went the distance for the Twins. Zach Godley 6 scoreless innings for the Diamondbacks. Yadier Molina 2 home runs. Luke Weaver pitched well into the 7th as the Cardinals beat the Brewers. So Milwaukee falls 3.5 games behind it stays 2.5 games behind the Cubs, with Chicago and Milwaukee both losing. There's Trevor Story, who takes ball 1. After that rollicking game in Boston last night between the Red Sox and the Indians, probably a blessing that they got rained out tonight. That was one of the craziest games of the year, including the 2-out strikeout wild pitch that enabled the Red Sox to stay alive and set the stage for the game-winning home run by Christian Vasquez. Sewald's got his good fastball tonight. 1-1 to Story.
Just keep running that fastball to Story up above the belt, and you'll get him.
I read last night that the Red Sox were the first team to win a game where they struck out with 2 out in the 9th since 1961.
Say that again.
First team to win a game where their hitter struck out when they're trailing with 2 out in the 9th.
Okay.
Since 1961.
I can believe that.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was an oddity.
How old were you in '61?
I was 3. You?
First year in Little League. 8.
Slider in the dirt, 2-2. They didn't have T-ball when you were a kid.
No, we didn't mess around with that.
Neither did we.
We just.
And we didn't have coach pitch or anything like that.
No.
Adam Ottavino was up. No machine pitch. I mean,
No. Well,
7 years old, Little League. He had kids pitching. It was
right.
ugly at times,
Yeah.
but they did.
We actually have pretty good competitive leagues where I was from. A lot of good athletes. The only thing we did that was kind of bogus was we played flag football when we were young. We had that. No tackling.
Inside. I played real Pop Warner football.
I did
with
too.
pads from the time I was 8.
I played Pop Warner 2 years. Absolutely. The first year was the San Bruno Jets. And I was the defensive back and quarterback. Next year I moved up to the San Bruno Rams, which was the next level up. They was all by weight and age, and they took me out of defense, and I was a quarterback.
Of course. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Sewald as he gets Story for the second out. 126 strikeouts for Trevor Story.
And look where the pitch is, folks, upstairs. Can't handle it above the belt. Shoulder, watch the shoulder drop, and the bat is the same angle as the shoulders. It makes you a dead low ball hitter, and you cannot hit a pitch above the waist.
Well, that has earned Sewald the right to face Carlos Gonzalez and try and finish off a second scoreless inning of relief. Fargo hit a 2-run homer in the 3rd inning against Chris Flexen, snapping a 77 at bat home run drought. He's also walked and struck out 1 for 2. So they had Blevins up in case they needed Cargo in a somewhat closer situation, but with a 5-run lead, 2 out of the inning, Sewald stays in, and A.J. Ramos getting ready for a possible closing duty tonight, whether it's a save situation or not. And it's popped up by Gonzalez. Rosario calls for it. Side retired. 5 scoreless innings for the Mets bullpen tonight, including a pair for Paul Sewald. 10-5 going to the ninth. All right, gentlemen, now your Fidelis Mets box score. Granderson with the big blow, the 3-run homer that put the Mets in front in that 6-run 6th inning, but he's had plenty of help tonight. A dozen hits for the Mets and that great work out of the bullpen as well. And now we go to the 9th. Paul Sewald, 2 scoreless innings. And as Dribble Cabrera, who's had a big night, leads off against Antonio Senzatella, who starts his 3rd inning of relief. Cabrera is 3 for 4 tonight, 2 singles and a double. He's driven in a run, he's scored a run. So Cabrera, who was 0 for 12 before his at bat in the 4th inning, now has hits in 3 consecutive at bats. And he rolls one to the right side for LeMahieu, and that's the first out in the top of the 9th. The Rockies starter Tyler Chatwood is on the hook in this game. He went 5 1/3. Started out well, was perfect through 3 innings, but then
blew up.
The roof began to cave in, and it didn't stop caving. 8 runs, 7 earned over 5 1/3. Scott Oberg gave up 2 runs in 2/3 of an inning. Senzatella has settled things down, but maybe a tad too late.
Oberg didn't exactly help things coming in. He got lit up too.
Cespedes, an RBI double in 4 trips tonight, and he takes a rip, 0-1. Well, the bullpen has been a big story in this game after Chris Flexen left after 3, in part because of a blister on his index finger. Jason Bradford, his first outing since being recalled. Salas, Sewald, 5 scoreless innings between them, or among them. 0-2 to Cespedes. A.J. Ramos is throwing in the Mets bullpen, so even though this will be a non-save situation, Ramos will make his 2nd appearance for the Mets. Kind of a mess for him in his first outing in Seattle after arriving in time for Sunday's game. One and 2 to Cespedes with Jay Bruce on deck. Day game tomorrow, 3 o'clock Eastern time. Then the Mets fly home and play the Dodgers on Friday night. That'll be quite a pitching matchup in that series opener. And Cespedes unloads to deep left field. Back goes Parra to the warning track. He's got room to make the catch.
Got jammed just a little bit.
Sometimes in this ballpark you can get jammed and still hit it out.
I understand.
Not that time.
It's nip and tuck, Gare.
Nip and tuck.
There it is right there. You can see just got a little bit in on him.
So Cespedes' power frustration continues. 2 out in the inning, and now Jay Bruce. Bruce has a homer tonight. He hit it to left field. That was in the 4th inning. His 29th of the year. Jay has reached the 30 home run plateau 3 times in his career. He had 32 in 2011, 34 in 2012, and 30 in 2013. And then 33 last year, so 4 times in his career. Of course, that was split between the Reds and the Mets.
It's his 4th home run today on his road trip. And it's an opposite field blast.
And the pitcher's asking for a new ball right after it leaves the bat.
Chatwood's pitched here long enough to know that it was going to be rubbing up a new one. Senzatella's got nice stuff.
Well, there's a reason he's won 10 games in this league. He sort of hit a wall before the All-Star break, and so they slowed him down. But looking good in relief tonight.
Tom Goodwin showing no effort to make a play on that ball. Tommy. Hands on hips, let your backbone slip.
You got to know when to hold him and when to fold him. One-two coming, and the off-speed pitch. He went around, strike 3, and the inning is over. 4th strikeout for Senzatella in 3 scoreless innings. We go to the bottom of the 9th, 10-5 New York. Mets baseball on SNY is brought to you by Tri Honda. Hurry into your local Tri Honda dealer for great deals on 2017 models. By People's United Bank NA. See what know-how can do for you. By Toyota. The national clearance event is going on now. Toyota, let's go places. And by Bob's Discount Furniture. Shop in store or online at mybobs.com. Double switch for the Mets. Wilmer Flores will play first base and bat fifth, and A.J. Ramos makes his second appearance for the Mets. He'll hit fourth in the order.
Well, he had a tough one his initial outing with the Mets, and that was in the third game in Seattle. Went 1 inning, gave up 2 hits, 2 runs, and a walk. It wasn't a good inning for him.
Ryan Hanigan will lead off against Ramos in the last of the ninth. Hanigan's 1 for 3 tonight. Raimel Tapia out on deck to bat for the pitcher. And the curveball from Ramos in for a strike. Rockies scored all 5 of their runs in the third inning off Chris Flexen. The bullpen has been magnificent for the Mets tonight. 5 scoreless innings, while the Mets were able to rally. 2 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth, 6 in the sixth to go up 10-5, and it is held from there. 30-year-old A.J. Ramos, the pride of Lubbock, Texas, played for his hometown school at Texas Tech after growing up in Lubbock.
Red Raiders.
Here's the 0-2 and breaking ball in the dirt. Ramos was a great success story for the Marlins, a 21st round draft pick who ascended quickly through the Miami organization. Was a setup man for a couple of years and then took over the closer's role 2 years ago and has run with it nicely since. Walks have always been his biggest issue. And the breaking ball tapped into center field, a base hit for Hanigan to start the last of the night. Second hit of the night for Hanigan. Coming up tonight after the postgame show, it's Geico Sports Night. Always like to hear what Carmelo has to say.
You do? Is he a talker?
Carmelo is an extremely pleasant person, no matter what you think of his basketball abilities.
Oh, well, he can shoot.
He can shoot, but I'm saying he's a stand-up guy, a really nice person to talk to.
It's nice to hear.
Raimel Tapia is the pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher Senzatella with Charlie Blackmon on deck. Cabrera comes in at third as Ramos throws a slider for a strike. Tapia pinch hit last night and struck out in the 7th inning against Paul Sewall. And he fouls one away, and Ramos gets ahead 0-2. Charlie Blackmon, who's hit a couple of balls very hard tonight to no effect, waiting on deck. Ramos up in the count 0-2 on Tapia. And fouls away the fastball. Jason Bradford, 2 perfect innings in relief. Fernando Salas, 1 scoreless inning. Paul Sewall, 2 scoreless innings. That bullpen has been a big part of this comeback story for the Mets tonight. And now Ramos trying to seal the deal. Tapia takes the slider low and away, 1-2. Flores not holding against the runner Hanigan at first. 1-2 coming, and Tapia strikes out on a pitch in the dirt for the first out.
Upstairs with the fastballs, downstairs in the dirt. Clearly swung at that pitch.
So 1 out and 1 on, and now Charlie Blackmon, who was a very tough 0 for 4 tonight. In the third inning, he had a bullet toward the middle, and Rosario made a diving stop of his line drive. In the 4th, he hit one to the fence in center field that Conforto caught. And in the 7th, he had a line drive right at Granderson in right field for an out. So the process has been good. The results have not for Blackmon tonight. And he takes the curveball for ball 1. The hitters are always talking about these days, you know, the process.
Is that what they say?
Well, you know, you hit the ball hard. It's all you can do.
Is that the word, process?
That's the process.
You always just felt, hey, better than hitting, looking lousy at 4 at bats. Rather hit it hard.
Well, would you rather have four blue pits or 4 line drive outs?
In the long, well, if you got 4 blue pits and you're not feeling good at the plate, that's not going to happen very often. I'd rather hit 4 bullets and take my chances. Because if I hit 4 bullets and I'm feeling good at the plate, I'm going to have a lot of good days. It'll make up for it.
So you're saying Blackmon should feel good?
He's got to feel good about his day-to-day. Hit the ball hard. What can you do? Once it leaves your bat,
that's the process.
I don't consider it a process.
It's only so much you can control, Keith. You try your best. You hit it hard. The rest is up to the fates. And he pops one straight up, way up. Who's going to get it? Cabrera squeezes it with 2 hands, and that's the 2nd out.
So a hard 0 for 5 for Charles Blackmon.
So the Rockies are down to their final out of the night. And now DJ LeMahieu, who's 2 for 4 tonight. He had a single and a double, close to a 3rd hit, but Reyes made a terrific play on a bullet 1 hopper in the 7th inning. LeMahieu 1 for 7 in his career against A.J. Ramos. Non-save situation, but Ramos trying to finish out this game. Trying to finish a game for the 40th time this year. His 39 games finished, leads the National League. Hannigan at first with 2 out. And LeMahieu takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Breaking ball hit down to 3rd. Cabrera flags it down, and the ball game is over. The Mets with a big come from behind victory. Down 5-0. They scored 10 unanswered runs. Curtis Granderson's 3-run homer put them in front. 6 scoreless innings for the Mets bullpen. And the Mets snap a 3-game losing streak as they even the series with the Rockies, winning 10-5.
Well, there's not much to add to that. The champions today, the big pluses, of course, as Gary mentioned, was the bullpen. Absolutely sterling effort there. And the offense right there, that man, Curtis Granderson's going to make that man very happy. The 3-run home run that capped that 6-run 6th where the Mets batted around and had 7 hits. Rosario drives in his first RBI of his major league career and scores his first run.
Well, Chase Bradford gets his first big league win. He was the guy who started that 6-inning scoreless run by the bullpen with 2 shutout innings in his first appearances coming back from the minors. Tonight's game summary presented by Infinity. Jay Bruce's 29th home run, his 4th in the last 6 games. Granderson with the go-ahead blow after the Mets came from 5 runs down. For every Mets win, the Mets organization is proud to contribute $2,500 to Northwell Health and the Cass Institute.